Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Gloria Kevlicute. Welcome to day one of the ICSA Open Team Race National Championship. I'm joined by Pearson Potts. Pearson, do you want to tell everyone a little bit about yourself and what we've been seeing today?
Gloria, it's great to be with you here today. Seeing a lot of good stuff here. My name is Pearson Potts. I'm from Newport, Rhode Island. Been sailing all my life, and I love team racing. I can't get enough of it. I love I love the bloodbath of it all, and really when it's close combat war out there.
Right. Awesome. Well, folks, welcome to the pre-show. Awesome. Well, to get things started, why don't we talk a little bit about the basics of team racing, right? So it's a very different sort of course that we see than fleet racing, right, Pearson?
Yeah, I would say so the course is a digital end. I would say team racing is every sailor is given a sword and a shield when they start team racing. The sword is their speed and their boat handling, and the shield are the rules and to keep them within the to overpower over the other teams. But they sail on the digital end. The digital end is what you're looking at here, and I'd say you start at the start, sort of like any sort of standard horse race, as you know, and you can't certainly win the race at the start, but you certainly can lose it. Further up, after the start, the boats will head into the upwind, and that right side of the course there is really what I would like to call victory lane. And you'll see that a lot of teams who win races will dominate that right side. And that will be a strong determinant of who wins and loses races.
Right, and so you'll see that we have the best way to describe the marks is we'll just number them off. We've got marks 1, 2, 3, and 4,
yep. Which
for those sailors or non-sailors that may not know too much about team racing, that's where all the action happens. That is where most, if not all times, the bloodbath begins.
That's where the bloodbath happens, and races are won and lost at marks, mainly at Mark 3. That's where you'll see races decided. Where you're looking at here is sort of an aerial view of the entire course here. Basically, the races are decided by Mark 3, though.
Right. And so you'll see that in team racing, the neat thing about it is that there's really, it requires a lot of teamwork. So there's winning combinations that you have to finish in order to win the race, right? You can win, as a singular player in the race, you can finish in first. But if your teammates are in fifth and sixth place, you have lost the race as a team. So the winning combos we look for, and we will describe them as plays, right? So you've got your play 1, which is a 1-2 anything. And Pearson, if you want to walk us through some of our more spicier pairs and plays.
So when we say plays, we're saying about the combos that the boats are in, the positions relative to others that they're in. And so whenever we see a 1-4-5 and a 2-3-6, that's when we can expect a spicy one.
Right. Exactly that. So as we were saying, the winning combos were 1-2 anything, a 2-3-4, and a 1-4-5. Those are the most stable winning combinations that teams want to be winning in. And so, just even taking a look at last year's stats, a lot of these teams, I'm sure, were winning in 1-2s or 2-3-4s are ones that you oftentimes see at national championships. So last year we saw that the Yale University Bulldogs had come out with the win with a 22 win, 3 loss record.
Impressive.
Yeah, right. So the skippers they had last year were Jack Egan of 25, Sean Harvey of 22, Teddy Nicolosi of 24, and Cruz Catherine Webb, Sonia Lingos Utley, and Anisha Arcott. So it looks like they're getting a lot of those returners, but they've now lost Sean Harvey. But he's still sticking around. He just coached the Stanford University Cardinal and won them their first women's national championship.
Yep. Kudos to Sean and his team. But yeah, can't count Yale out at all. They have an incredible coach, Zach Leonard, over there, and they are consistently a dominant team, I would say.
And they even have Jack Egan, class of 25, who's still really young, and quite honestly, he's been having back-to-back incredibly strong seasons with his crew, Catherine Webb. And so, he's class of 25. He's been winning a lot of the events and divisions that he sails in, and he's been dominating. He's the NISA Skipper of the Year. So he's going to be somebody we're going to be wanting to watch, and Yale's got a title to defend.
Yeah, I would say that Yale's the team to beat out there. I would say there's a couple other contenders, especially when you look at the results from last year. The same teams want to stand atop the podium, and when it's all said and done, I think the next team on our list really we should take a look at is Roger Williams. They're an aggressive team. They're hungry, very well coached. Amanda Callahan over there. What do you think about them?
Yeah, Roger Williams is one of those teams that has always, seems like consistently been in the top 4 at every single team race national championship. Like you said, incredible coach, and they're very, very strong on their team racing. So, they've got some really strong players, and it seems like even with young players or even senior players like Cameron Wood, class of 22, he's on his 5th year, and so he's especially going to be hungry to finish out his final year strong.
Absolutely. And at Roger Williams, I went to college not too far away from them, and I know that they eat, sleep, and breathe team racing over there at Roger Williams. I mean, that's what they live for. That's where their heart is. And it's I hope Cameron closes it out.
You're absolutely right. Yeah, Roger Williams definitely has a very, very strong record in team racing. So they always bring in the action at every single national championship. And on that note, last year in 3rd place at the team race nationals was Georgetown University, which arguably in my eyes I think is a little bit of an underdog considering that they're one of the only non-NISA schools that usually make it to the top 4.
Yeah, they don't get as much practice against like the top teams as say the NISA teams do in New England there, but they're darn good. Okay, those Hoyos, those Bulldogs can be angry,
Yeah, you're absolutely right. I mean, Scott Mays, he's class of 23. That's going to be one of those seniors. He's been, I believe, last year he had a really strong showing at nationals, and so. Just once again, there's a few seniors here that are really going to be fighting for that final championship opportunity.
Yeah, and I like to say, at the moment of truth, you either have reasons or results.
There you go. Yeah, couldn't have said it better. And then, lastly, we've got in the final, in 4th place at last year's nationals. I believe they lost it on the very final tie-breaking race. Just that close to 3rd place was Stanford. So they did lose a few of their players from last year that were seniors, but I'm going to be honest. I think that they've got a really strong team coming in here for team racing, one that we've particularly never seen before at a team race national championship, and that's a team of all women.
I love it. And they look really good. I mean, they're fast as all get out. I mean, they're fast as hell. I know that they have to travel from California to get the more competitive events, but don't count them out at all. And kudos to the women over there.
Right, and they've got senior Michelle Larkamp, class of 23, and Abigail Tyndall, very strong crew, class of 23 as well. And then, they just had an incredible showing at the Women's National Championship. They took the win by a significant margin, and now even in team racing, they're joined by Vanessa Larkamp, who is a freshman and won B Division just yesterday by 30 points, which, if you guys are watching, that is a massive margin at a national championship.
Yeah, I mean, that is incredibly hard. You know, the result on paper does not show the hard work that goes into that. I mean, that's really impressive.
You're right. Yeah, I'll tell you this much with. Considering that they're making some history, having an all-women's, we're talking all 6 players right now that sailed the 2 races this morning were all women. I would, in quotations, call them certified badasses, right? Moving on to a recap of what you guys...
Before we get into the recap, I think, just to give an update to the fans out there, we started we got out early on the water this morning, but wind has died. We're waiting. We started out in a northerly. The wind is classic Long Island Sound. The wind has died into a dying northerly, and we're really waiting. We're starting in a holding pattern right now until that southerly comes.
Yeah, and so, we just want to give you guys a little bit of an update on what you might have missed this morning. They did get through a few of the races, but, it's worth talking about some of those results you guys may have missed. We got through about 16 races. And so, just taking a look at some of those races you may have missed. As you can see, Yale had beat Brown. That's a tough loss for Brown. But, Roger Williams had lost a race to Dartmouth. I think that was a big upset race, if you ask me.
Yeah, I think that's an upset. It's a tough start for Roger Williams, but, you can't win the regatta maybe in the first few races, but you certainly can lose it. They're going to bounce back fine, though. I'm not worried about them.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. And so taking a look at some of the footage of the races this morning, here is that race against Roger Williams v. Dartmouth. You can tell it was a little bit light, but these were some pretty quality races.
Yeah, you can tell it's a nail biter at the end here. Looking at the finish here, you got boats spinning. People look dizzy out there.
Yeah, and then here we have the Coast Guard Purdue race. Purdue coming out all the way from the Midwest. Coast Guard had taken the win in this race, but as you can see, there's spinning going on out there, that's for sure, and even early on.
And that's what I love about team racing, you got to use that sword and you got to use that shield effectively.
Yeah. Taking a look here, we've got the 1, 2, 3, 16, 17, 18 Tulane Fordham race. This one was definitely an interesting one because, Tulane doesn't get out to team race too much against these teams. So I'm always curious how they're going to do once they come out to the national level. But it looks like Tulane had taken the win in this race.
Yeah, they're fast, Gloria. Don't count them out at all either. They won nationals last year. They're quick.
Yeah, and so, Tulane, they've got a lot to defend here. They had come off that win in the open fleet race last year on their home waters. So I think they're going to be one of those feistier teams we definitely can't look away from.
And as you can see, the water, you could you might crack the glass out here in the water. It's light out here, folks, and you really got to be quite a ballet dancer, the crews included out here in the boats here. You got to be really gentle yet forceful.
Yeah, and looking at the Stanford-Georgetown race, that was definitely a bit of a nail-biter, but Stanford Cardinal had walked away with the win there. Once again, all-woman team. They went out there, and they won both of their races this morning. Significantly, I think, making history. I would love to see, it's something you don't see every day. An all-women's team at the Open Fleet Race or Open Team Race National Championship. That's and to also go out there and win a few races against some really top-ranked teams. I think that's incredibly impressive.
Absolutely, they are quick. They're showing those boys who's boss.
I like that. I like that. And here you can see...
Don't tell them I said that, though.
Here you can see some great tacks from St. Mary's. But essentially what's happening now, folks, is the breeze is starting to fill in. They've sent out the entire fleet. So it looks like we're going to be seeing some really great races. So stick around.
right, we got umps on their way, so we'll be getting started here shortly.
The U.S. Merchant Marine Academy really is the world's best kept secret.
This is the best of both worlds, combining military academies and the maritime academies.
Our core values are respect, honor, and service.
My academic background is very rigorous.
You spend 300 days at sea on commercial ships.
You receive a Bachelor's of Science degree,
Your third mate's or your third engineer's license.
and then a commission into the Naval Reserve.
It's challenging, but that's the reason I came here.
We are the next generation of leaders for this country.
Yeah, and so thank you, folks, for sticking around and watching through some of those races that you may have missed. You'll see now that as we look at races 8, 12, and 14 from this morning, the breeze was significantly dying. We were lucky to get some of those off, but now we're just hoping for that breeze to start filling in a little bit more. The fleet's starting to launch, but why don't we go ahead and take a look here? You'll see that within this race here, this was you can see some of Tulane. Sorry, pardon me, that's Penn. You'll see that in these races, there was starting to be quite a few jibes, some luffing sails, and a lot of crews sitting in boats.
Well, those crews are moving, Gloria. Those crews are sweating out there. A lot of work in this light wind. You're tacking, jibing all the time. There's never a dull moment in team racing.
Yeah, and so now you look at this Fordham versus Dartmouth race. That was definitely, Fordham has worked pretty hard to get here, I think. And you'll see that Dartmouth had walked away with the win in that one. You're absolutely right that in this light air stuff, you really have to be quite tactical. You have to be very careful to not spin because if you foul, I can guarantee that you're going to be in that deep six for the rest of that race in that light stuff.
Yeah, you really want to avoid spinning here, especially if there's any risk that you may have fouled. A lot of times you're better off just doing one spin rather than taking an umpire penalty, which is 2 spins, as we know.
Yeah, and so this next race is UPenn Quakers versus the Harvard University Crimson. Harvard had walked away with the win, but this was definitely the race that was cutting it close with the near glass. So Harvard had done a great job of keeping their boats moving, avoiding as many fouls as possible. And truly, it's, if you have a bad tack in this stuff as well, it's going to be a really tough race.
Yeah, I think, in this light stuff, your best friend is your friend Mo. And Mo has no sympathy. Mo is short for momentum, and you got to keep that going in this light stuff.
Yeah, and you can see here, look at 13 even having to do that jibe. I mean, the sails you can see how light they are. All the sailors have their controls off, so giving as much breathing room for these sails in that light air. So folks, it looks like all the boats are starting to go out, but I'll be honest with you, it's still looking pretty light.
It does still look, right now we're looking at a live feed of the water right now, so it looks like the breeze is still fighting between the north and the southerly breeze, but it looks like they're trying to get something going in this northerly breeze. Right now, look at that, love those brown bears, brown bear alumnus myself. Looking good out there, just smooth. Wow. Checking his boat. Looks quick out there.
Yeah, and just taking a look, the nice thing is those teammates that go out there, right? They're playing piggy in the middle, right?
Yeah.
That's what we used to call it. I don't know. Some schools call it different things, but we'd play piggy in the middle whenever we're practicing team racing, just the 3 of us. So essentially what you do there for folks that are like, what is piggy in the middle? What is she talking about? Essentially, it's where, you've got your 3 teammates. You may not have another team to practice a team race with. So what you'll do is you'll have one teammate windward, one teammate in the middle, and then one leeward. And essentially that teammate in the middle, you're pretending like he's the bad guy. He's on the other team. So you and your teammates on the windward and leeward side, you're just trying to get your teammate who's behind back forward of the piggy in the middle.
Yeah, I think you're just, with that drill, you're just trying to practice putting boats in last. This game is really a game of control, and if you can control another boat with your boat and control 2 pairs or in any given race, you're gonna win the race.
Yeah, and as you can see on your screens, folks, the water is glistening right now. We've got that little bit of breeze. It seems like we're all kind of in that patch of breeze, but if I look to my left and I look straight out and you can see past the boats here towards the bridge, it's really, really looking glassy, but over to the right a bit, we've got some pressure that looks like it may stick around, so we're hoping to get some races going here.
Yeah, it's a bit touch and go out there. It's easy, I think, mentally to get psyched out and sort of expect that you're not going to be racing. But, as much as a physical and talent game there is out there, it's also a mental game.
Yeah. And so, folks, until we get a start going, we appreciate you guys joining us for the pre-race show. But as soon as we hear those horns going off for 3 minutes for that first start, we'll be right back. and welcome back, folks. That was a very short break indeed. We've got some pretty minimal wind here, but we're making it work.
We're absolutely making it work, Gloria, and teams are moving out here. I mean, I can hear them screaming from here. There's some action out there.
That's for sure. And so we've just got to start off with Georgetown here. So I can see to my left, I've got the team very attentively watching. You've got, boat 12 is out pretty far ahead. They're doing a good job of kind of slowing down and sticking around, making sure that they're there for their teammates in case they need them.
Yeah, Gloria, this looks like a good race here. This looks like a your classic 236 combination with a 145. Looks like Georgetown just converted there.
Yeah, Georgetown and Tufts. Tufts is looking like they're struggling just a little bit, but we'll see how they make it out here. We saw some flags going up from the umpires as well. I believe it was a green. I didn't see any major spins there, but we'll see. I see boat 12 is going pretty far away from all their teammates, especially considering how light it is. You can really kind of make something happen if you just stick a little bit closer.
Yep, and you got Tufts in the red boats, Georgetown in the blue boats there. And this is actually, I would say this is perfect Tufts sailing conditions. They sail on really what is a puddle in Boston. And this is their stuff right here.
Yeah, I couldn't have said it better myself. So we see boat 11 is kind of in the victory lane area here. So we're watching them try and defend boat 8. 9 is coming in on starboard, or on port rather. But it looks like Georgetown's doing a pretty good job defending their starboard advantage.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, just like I said, Georgetown is doing a good job there, controlling the inside, not being too risky there, just holding starboard with the right of way, and it looks like they're right on the edge of a 1-2 there. Look, boat 12 is out ahead, but he's looking to see his teammate there in boat 11, trying to get him sprung ahead for a solid 1-2.
Right, and folks, remember that they're coming up to what we describe as Mark III, right? So this is really where all the action happens. So 12 has a really great opportunity of making sure that they lock in their teammate in that too. Or possibly even, as you see here, they're letting their teammate up ahead into the 1. But it looks like boat 8 is avoiding. That's pretty tough. I think that's a bold move on 8 or 9, I'm looking, to even try and get in there.
Yeah, absolutely, Gloria. And, Tulsa's just forcing it a little too early. You can't win the race all in one move. You see that the good teams, the difference between the good teams and the best teams is they don't try to force it to happen all at once. It's a little bit here, a little bit there. Georgetown just, slow and steady, and Tufts really just put it all on the line there at Mark III. Didn't work out.
Right, so it looks like Georgetown's rounding in a 1-2, and I think in the lighter stuff, it's pretty locked in if you're rounding in that 1-2, so long as Georgetown does a pretty good job, has good tacks, strong tacks, and makes sure that they keep everyone in their coverage zone. So those that don't know sailing, the coverage zone is essentially behind your stern of the boat, the back of your boat, and out essentially like a triangle. And so you just want to make sure that in terms of bad breeze, you're giving plenty of it to the team behind.
Yeah, I used to charge people for the dirty air, and whenever I rolled them, I'd say, "You want any butter with that roll?" But don't count Tufts out yet. They're strong light wind sailors, and I know that they're going to be fighting till the end.
Right, but it looks like Georgetown's doing a pretty good job of keeping everybody in their coverage, and I think boat 10 from Georgetown's doing a pretty good job of making sure that they are keeping somebody behind them as well, just in case worst comes to worst case scenario, they have the ace. They have the ace.
Yeah, and so, with that, if it all goes to hell, basically, the worst case for them would be a 145, and it's maybe a little bit more unstable, but at least you're still winning the race.
Right. So yeah, that would be the play for 145, and so it looks like Georgetown, you can't count out 7 who's going out to the left. It's hard to tell which side has better pressure, but, Georgetown is also very strong fleet racers. So they've got the speed that you need to make sure you're maintaining in team racing. So, Tufts has had a little bit of a harder time fleet racing this season, and so I think that Georgetown has this 1-2 pretty locked in.
Yep, pretty solid. And, the teams know these combos by heart. They're not sitting out there with their TI-84 calculators trying to figure out, how many points do I need, this and that. These guys have practiced each of these combos tirelessly.
Yeah, and there you see 10. 10 still has a pair, so that's good. They've put 9 behind enough. And there you go. 12 is crossing the finish line. So is 11. And it looks like Georgetown has locked in the play 1, 1, 2, and maybe even a 3 there from 10. And here we've got the Hoyas to the left of us in our booth.
Love that team spirit.
Right, and so it sounds like they're always looking out for their teammates. Yeah, that looks like they may have gotten a 1-2-5, if not 4-3. That's a little bit tight there. Well done from the Hoyas.
Well done.
So it looks like the Jumbos are, that's a tough thing about these races is just making sure you reset. There's going to be a lot of races, right? So good team morale is always a good thing.
Yeah, I mean, what you're looking at here, folks, is a Fordham and Roger Williams. And Fordham doing a really nice job of just hanging on there. Boat 12 there, all alone, trying to do something for his teammates, trying to hold them off. He's holding back the flood here. And, Roger Williams is trying to run away with it with a 1-2-3, but Fordham doing a nice job trying to get his teammates back in the picture.
Yeah, Roger Williams, like we were saying, they may have lost their first race of the day, but there's no doubt about it. I think they're going to make a pretty strong comeback. So it looks like Roger Williams is actually rounding mark 2 in a 1-2. Now, this is going to be the fun stuff to watch. Boat 7 and 8, actually, it looks like they have a 1-2-3. And here's the best part about it is when you have a 1-2-3, you can't get too cocky with it.
You can't get too cocky with it, Gloria, but you also, they can use that third boat to put some extra insult to injury and add some insurance. And they're going to look to use their third boat to bury the other Fordham boats, and so that they can run away with a 1-2 with it.
Right, and there's going to be a lot of, there's plenty to learn from that. Now, granted, I will say 9's Roger Williams boat has punched out forward a bit. It's worth noting that 7 is in what you call the graveyard side of the course on the downwind. They look like they're pretty punched out ahead, but something to be certain about is in the super light stuff, if you're getting covered, there's a pretty big gap that can be closed. So, taking a look at boat 12, they're fighting hard to cover 8. And what we want to be seeing from boat 11 is just doing anything they can in their power to cover the boats. But once again, where your coverage zone is much different in the light air stuff, especially when you're reaching.
Absolutely, Gloria.
Yeah, when there's more breeze, essentially you have, and you're on a winging, right? So you'll have your jib on one side, your main on the other. Your coverage zone is very, very different from reaching. So the one thing about reaching is it can get pretty easy to get rolled over the top. But in terms of covering, I find it personally a little bit easier to cover when somebody else is on a wing.
Yeah, definitely easier, but you're seeing a lot of boats reaching here. It's a little too light to be winging, as you say, sort of going dead downwind. So you'll see a lot of boats just reaching back and forth. You're stuck in the water if you go dead downwind.
Yeah, and I'll tell you what, it's pretty light out here. It's lightening up. We're hoping the sea breeze comes in, but as Pearson was saying earlier, if the sea breeze does come in, we're talking about fighting directions, right? So right now we're also seeing that just a race you may have missed is Yale. Yale had just taken the win over Purdue with a 1-2-3. But let's stay on this race with Roger Williams and Fordham and see if Fordham can make any action happen. Going around Mark 3-8 has been doing an excellent job of taking his sweet old time around in Mark 3.
Yeah, and I like to say, every team race you're given a knife. And you never want to throw your knife. It's sort of a jousting battle, and you never want to give it all up at once. So 8's doing a really nice job there of pushing the other boats back, but not doing so much that he ends up in last himself. So doing a good job of just jabbing with that knife, jabbing here and there, but not doing it all at once.
Yeah, you're right. And so this is where, it's really great to watch those Raj boats and see the techniques they've been working on throughout the year. Like you said, they're a pretty powerhouse team for team racing. So I'm always interested to see, what cards they're going to pull out.
Yeah, they are smooth as butter in those boats. This is their bread and butter.
Yeah. So we see 11 is splitting off from 8 and 12, which at that point when your team's that deep, that's kind of the best thing you can do, right? And so it looks like, if you ask me, 11 looks like they're kind of cooking with some speed here out left. So, and now we see that 10, 8, and 12 have all tacked off. They're all on starboard. And I'm curious to see if we're going to see a little bit of a mix here. 11 is just tacked back. I want to see how they're going to look on 8. But it doesn't look like they're going to cross on boat 7. Potentially may come close, and folks, keep in mind that's what it's all about, is trying to close that gap as much as possible, right? Get any bit of advantage you can get and try to close that gap. But I will say this much: 7 and 9 are doing a brilliant job of keeping the rest of their opponents in their coverage zone, kind of in that triangle, one may say.
Absolutely, and what you're seeing here, boat 11 coming close to that second place boat. That is sort of the last hope for Fordham here, to try and get one of those boats and put them in last.
Right, and so, Fordham's had a pretty good season team racing in Mesa, and this is, again, one of those kind of arguments is are the Mesa teams getting as much practice within their district as NISA sailors are?
I think that they're definitely getting enough practice. I mean, these teams are highly, they practice. They're on the water probably 40 hours a week. It's just, are they racing against the top teams every single weekend? Maybe not, but they do get a lot of overlapping. Fordham in particular, they're not too far from all the different NISA teams. I remember when I was sailing myself, we used to come down to Kings Point and do a few events here as well.
Yeah. Yeah, so that looks like Roger Williams had gotten that 1-2 in that race. It's always tough when another team is just kind of sent off 1-2. But that's where you were saying that you certainly can't win a race off the starting line, but you surely can lose one.
Absolutely, and what you're looking at here, folks, is the start here. And each of these, this is sort of where the magic happens. The umpires are close. They're watching for fouls. We're looking at Dartmouth in 4, 5, 6, and Harvard in 13, 14, 15.
Nice little Ivy competitiveness, right? So Harvard Crimsons, they have, I believe, a very, very strong freshman on their team. Somebody that I think we're going to want to be looking at quite often is the Callahans. He was incredibly strong fleet racing season and equally as good of a team racing season. So you'll see here that Harvard in 13, 14, 15, again, a little bit of we've got early accelerations I'd say that Dartmouth 4 has pretty good advantage on 15. We'll see how they come out.
Yeah, four looks fast there, but 15 controls the right. So he's coming back, he's tacking, and hopefully he's got a piece, and hopefully he can sort of use his starboard advantage to force those boats right there. So there, he's raising his arm there to call for a foul, and that'll be left up to the umpires to decide.
Unless we see a spin from boat 4, but doesn't look like they're going to do a spin on their own.
No,
So
I mean, from my view, that was total Hollywood.
So it looks like in terms of team racing, you always kind of want to have 2 pairs on your team. So essentially, you know, if you're looking at your teammates, you're like, do 2 of us have 2 opponents in our control? And so looking right now, it looks like 13 had past tense some control of 6. It looked like they were starting to get a little bit pinched off. And then it's always that pin boat battle, 5 and 14, where it's just like who's going to pinch off who can hold the longest. If you're that windward boat at the pin, you want to hold it as long as possible. But as you can see, folks, the crews are sitting in. It's a light race for them.
Yeah, the crews are going to be in the boats, keeping their eyes out, feeding information to the skippers to try and figure out who's got who. You know, who's our pair? Who do we need to control? And that they're sort of the brains of the operation.
Yeah, boat 4 looks like they probably got a green flag there. So you may be right. It's more like a soccer Hollywood
Absolutely.
kind of thing.
That's exactly what was on my mind. It's like the soccer players, they get their hair messed up and then they start crying on the ground. It's kind of like that.
Yeah, you're right about that. On the Harvard boats, keep in mind we have Lachlan McGranaham, class of 24. We've got Justin Callahan, freshman, class of 26, and Mitchell Callahan, also class of 26. So it looks like, you know, they're currently sitting in, you know, tied for second. They've won 2 races of the day so far. We'll see if they win this one, but a pretty young team, if you ask me, along with crews Christopher Wang, 23, Kennedy Leahley, pardon me if I said that wrong, class of 26, and Marbella Marlowe, class of 24. If you ask me, I just named off only 1 senior. That's a pretty young team for Harvard, and considering their fleet racing record of this season, college sailing has got to watch out for these guys.
Yeah, college sailing's got to deal with these kids for a while.
Right. And on the Dartmouth boats, if I'm not mistaken, I believe they have some, you know, notoriously strong skippers. They've got Robert Bragg, Maddie Hawkins, and another. So, you know, got to say, they have a really strong team, and they are starting to age out, if I'm not mistaken. Let's take a look here. So it looks like it's pretty light. I mean, even coming out of those tacks, the crews are having to dive pretty hard to leeward just to make it out of them. This is starting to get quite heated, folks. Remember, Dartmouth is in 4, 5, 6, Harvard 13, 14, 15. I'm hearing whistles on the water.
What a bloodbath. It looks like we have that spicy 2-3 sits combination with Dartmouth.
And what an incredible job putting up the wall on Dartmouth. 6 and 5. Absolutely textbook material there. Look at how they are matching one another. 5 and 6 just absolutely put up the wall for 14. Here you see 5 starting to head 14 up. Wow, 16 heading them up. Wow, that's gorgeous.
That is really well done. I mean, that's exactly how you draw it up on the board.
Right. And so here we see the last Dartmouth boat 4 just pushing 15, getting them going, getting them around the mark, and pushing them towards their teammate. Boat 6 just has a choke hold on 14 right now.
Yeah, he's busier than a one-legged man in an ass-kicking competition there.
It takes quite control here from boats, especially in this light air stuff. You gotta be careful to not do too much.
Exactly.
So it's one of those instances, but I gotta say, boat 6 has made it out quite cleanly. Let's see, boat 5 is there to help as needed. And you can hear the action on the water right now. So it looks like
And we haven't even passed Mark 2. This is Mark 2 here.
Yeah, I'll be honest. It looks like 15 had a foul there on boat 5. I mean, they really stuffed it in there. I'm not sure that they necessarily had room. We'll see if
I'm with you, Gloria, and it looks like the Dartmouth boat there is calling for the umpire, calling for a foul there to try and get them to spin.
And that looks like Maddie Hawkins there, absolutely stellar sailor, just recently an All-American for this year on the women's end. You're seeing hands get thrown up. Boat 14 is not happy.
Oh, look, and they're chatting with each other. A little trash talk, maybe.
Awesome. So we're going to see a replay of what just went down at that mark.
All right, so it looks like Dartmouth feel like they owned the mark at that point, and they feel like they could choose to go around the mark how they wished. It looks like Harvard tried to sneak in between them there, although they didn't have any rights there. So it looks like, you know, from my vantage point, it looks like that's going to be Harvard's foul.
And I'll tell you what, it looks like 6 broke overlap so quickly there. There was like small margin for error there, but 6 did such a stellar roll jibe there that they had broken that overlap with 14. So I don't even think 14 had luffing rights beyond that point.
Yeah, and it's busy out there. I mean, they're flipping and flopping.
Oh, yeah. And so here we can see it is tight racing here. 14 is behind. They definitely don't have any luffing rights. And it looks like 14 must have fouled because they're doing a spin. That is not good for Harvard.
No, they look a little dizzy out there, and I could see Harvard, you know, they're starting to get louder, trying to get more aggressive and emotional. But sometimes you got to, you go faster by slowing the whole game down. You can't get too worked up out there.
Right. So here's something we're going to be wanting to look at without a doubt. We've got Mark 3. Harvard has room on 5 and 4 here. So what they want to do is they want to make something happen. Now, they definitely can't go at them on starboard. So there we go. They have to just take the mark room. They have to round the mark. They do have proper course, so they have to get around. 4 did a stellar job of just right around the 2 boat length zone. They pushed them around, right? 5 is around. We might want, we want, 4 and 5 to be looking behind them right now and being like, hey, our team just got pushed back to 6.
Yeah, so right now Harvard winning this race, but very much a close race. Dartmouth is going to see about trying to make a move here before we get to Mark 4 here. They're going to put the brakes on here. Eyes are back.
And so it sounds like another Harvard boat is spinning. That Dizzy is right. We got 14. Ooh,
and that's a win for Dartmouth there. That gives Dartmouth the edge here.
I'll tell you what, if you get a red flag umpired 720 in this light air, we're talking this breeze, that's an automatic 6.
Yeah, I mean, my advice there is that, you don't need to foul, you don't need to force things. I always say, good sailors win protests, but, great sailors don't even get in protests. They just sail away and go fast.
Man, I couldn't have said it better myself. That is
Thanks,
definitely... but take a look at some past winners of team racing, right? They're not getting into too many umpired situations.
Right. You don't see Yale, hooting and hollering all around the course.
You're right. So we'll see if Harvard can make something happen here. We see the boat 1 for Harvard coming down. I mean, at this point, it's like a Hail Mary. It's like I got to do something.
Yeah, Harvard just boat 13 there. They're holding down the first place, but his team's losing the race right now, trying to get involved. He's coming down, and this is the match race, folks. This is the one-on-one battles that every race has them, and you just got to win them. You just got to beat your boat.
Yeah, and you can actually see it looks like Harvard right now has and it looks like never mind. It looks like they have lost that 4 that they had. So originally Harvard had a 1-4-6. That means that they could have won this race if you see the 4 go back on the 5 and, give them hell and push that teammate forward. I'm hearing whistles, but I'm not seeing any spinning, so it must have been a green flag. So all Harvard can do right now is hope that they can keep the 1 and get that 4-5.
Right, that 1's got to hold the 1, but also he's got to trust his teammates to get some Dartmouth boat. And it looks close there. The action right here, 14 and
5. I'll tell you this much. It looked like that was 5's foul. So 5 had tacked into overlap with 14. And 14 did what they could. They immediately pushed up to leeward. Now the argument could be, did 14 give 5 enough room and enough time to avoid?
Yeah, so I mean, most times, the percentage move is going to be called on the foul is going to go to the windward boat.
There is so many dial downs happening right now. A lot of action. Looks like 6 just punched out into some kind of puff. Has stellar speed.
This race is hotter than a honeymoon hotel, Gloria. But it's Dartmouth's race to lose right now.
Oh, man. It looks like, Dartmouth may have a 2-3-4 here. But, the biggest thing is just keeping your cool and staying calm in this race. 6 is going to want to just sit on 14.
Yeah, 6 has a lot of work to do right now.
Right. And somebody's got to be making sure, you need to make sure that both your teammates are going to be able to get ahead of 14 and 15, all while avoiding 13, because 13 is going to want to be really going down hard on Dartmouth.
Yeah, I mean, it's looking better and better for Dartmouth here in that 2-3-4 combination. 6 is going to be the gatekeeper here, is going to seal the deal for Dartmouth.
13 has finished. That means Harvard's across the finish line. And it looks like, folks, Dartmouth has finished in a 2-3-4, just clinching that race. That was a lot of action.
I'm all hot and bothered, Gloria. Wow. That was a close one. It's a huge win for Dartmouth. That's, I'm going to call that an upset.
That's definitely an upset for Harvard, especially. That's the kind of action we're looking for, folks. I'll tell you what. Yeah, this was good for the soul. It's good seeing that competitiveness. It's good seeing the fire, and you can hear the anger.
Right. All right, we're back to this replay here. 6 doing a great job holding there. A lot of action here. Arms flailing, words exchanged, insults flying. I mean, it's a bloodbath.
Yeah, I mean, umpire whistles were just howling nonstop.
Yeah, I mean, people think sailing's a proper sport, but that was anything but proper.
Yeah, and you can see there was just constant action. Definitely lots of hands being raised. And I'll tell you what, it was super light in that race. I know that the heat especially comes out when it's hot.
Very light here.
All right, our next start will be Yale versus Tough.
My favorite part is after these races, after umpire calls, you'll oftentimes see sailors going up to the umpires. I'll tell you what's a bad move, going up to an umpire and getting real upset and showing them any sort of anger as to why they made a call. It's always good to keep your cool. Be like, hey, I just want to learn. I'm here to get educated. Tell me, why did you make that call, right? So it never goes well when you go up to an umpire hot and bothered.
Right, and you always get more with honey than you do vinegar. You can be nice to the umpires, and you got to treat them nicely. They're volunteering their time to be here, and you got to keep your head on straight.
Yeah, you definitely couldn't be more right about that. The umpires do a great job, and yeah, they have to make hard calls. Let's take a look at this race going on here. Looks like we're just starting. Looks like we've got a nice race going around. 10, 11, 12, 7, 8, 9. But that one, we've got 7 rounding Mark III, if I'm not mistaken. But they are rounding super low, these boats are. They are so low of the mark.
Wow, what a great onboard footage there. Luscious locks from the Tufts boys.
Beautiful.
That looks to be a right-handed tiller, if I had to say.
So I can't tell if 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 are racing right now, quite honestly, just because they're all so low of the marks. But I believe they are.
So it looks like we got Georgetown in the blue boats, Coast Guard in the red.
Ooh. And that was a red flag for boat 12, which I think is quite interesting. I didn't even see boat 12 interact with another boat, which tells me that they may or may not have been flagged for pumping.
Right, any sort of sensual movements in the boats, anything that you might do in a bedroom is going to be called by an umpire.
Especially in this light air stuff, you know?
You can't be doing that stuff in this light air.
Yeah, I mean, it can get quite risque for you on the water if you do that, that's for sure. Now, that's tough for Georgetown because that spin, especially, you know, those sensual movements, that's gonna, you have to do a 720 from the umpires, and that's gonna be a digger for you.
Yep, and right now, Coast Guard winning this race. That really hurt Georgetown there. It looks like Georgetown's sitting in a 4-5-6, the worst combo.
Yeah, you don't want that. You see Coast Guard's boat is doing a pretty good job of keeping 11 covered. But yeah, especially for Georgetown, because 12, the boat that had to do the spin, they were sitting in first.
Yeah, they were sort of the last hope there for Georgetown.
All right, and you know, that's definitely, like you said, that's definitely an upset, I think, for Georgetown because Coast Guard is definitely, I think, a little bit of an underdog here. They have, not saying they're not, you know, they're a fantastic team, and they have very, very strong teamwork. They've got Daniel Unangst, 24, Coleman Schofield, 25, Matthew Kickefer, 23 with Cruz, Jack Farrell, 23, Lauren O'Neill, 24, and Charles Pohl, 26. So once again, also a little bit of a younger team. They do have one skipper that is a senior, but it looks like Coast Guard walked away with a 1-2-3 against Georgetown. And here, folks, you see a start with Yale and Tufts. Yale in 13, 14, 15. Tufts in 4, 5, 6. It looks like at the boat, that's a win of the pair. 13 definitely ahead of 5. But a little bit of a tough pin start for boat 15. I mean, they are a few ladder rungs higher to windward, but we'll see what happens and how they line up with boat 6 from Tufts.
Yeah, I think everyone out there, for any start, they're thinking about starting to leeward of their opponent to try and squeeze them out. Anytime you can kind of get a close start to leeward of them, it's advantageous, and you're more than likely going to be able to squeeze ahead of them.
Yeah, and you know, I'll tell you what, the Yale Bulldogs are constantly dominating. I'll be honest, I'd be a little bit nervous going up against them, you know, especially Tufts has had I think they've had a pretty decent team racing season, but there's no doubt about it that at most team race regattas all throughout this spring, Yale has come to not mess around.
Yeah, I would say Yale's a team, definitely a team to beat. But I think that, you know, just that when we're looking at that Coast Guard Georgetown race, that really tells you that anybody can win any given Sunday out here. You know, it just really is a testament to the level of competition out here. Great shot here, the Tufts boys.
Yeah, and so 13 looks like they are quite low on the fleet here. You know, it's important to note that when you're team racing, you still have to incorporate that good amount of fleet racing, right? Especially on that first leg, which is kind of what we're seeing here. 13 looks like they're a little bit down ladder runs from everybody else, so I'm curious to see how they'll look, except when the fleet comes back together here.
Yeah, when the fleet comes back together here at the first mark, you kind of, you know, all the different pairs shake out. You finally have a good, clear understanding of the combo. I think a big part of this game is recognition, recognizing what combo you're in, what needs to happen, and the teams that do that and recognize the play quicker, that's the play. Because everyone knows the plays, everyone's practiced. It's just, it's execution.
Right, and it looks like Yale Bulldogs were about to round Mark 1 in a 1-2. 14 a little bit behind, but I think they have a pair. So long as they keep the ace, looks like Yale Bulldogs, knowing their speed, I think that they'll have a pretty good advantage here.
Yeah, Yale always just one of the fastest teams, and whenever we always used to race Yale, that we always just wanted to clamp on one of them, just absolutely put two of them, just bury two of them. It's just like, no, like, you're gonna stay behind me. I was so tired of them going fast.
Yeah, the Yale Bulldogs look like they do have the 1-2, but here's the thing, folks. They have a 1-2-6 right now, so
Yep.
You can't get too comfortable.
Never get too comfortable out here.
So it looks like 14 from Yale does not have lured advantage. They have lured advantage rather, but it looks like they cannot head up boat 6. So here they are going above them. We'll probably see 6 start to head them up.
Yeah, so 6's job here is just to maintain, keep 14 behind them. He's not really going to worry about catching the other boats. He's going to rely on his other teammates to break up that 1-2 combination. And the 6 and 14 are really just going to have themselves a little. They're going to be doing tangoing all around this course, and it's really just going to be a match race.
Yeah, and so it looks like 13 is. Oh, and 13 had some waves there, slowing themselves down a good amount. Yeah, just like what Pearson was saying. And then 1-2 wants to sail fast, but make sure that, you know, just in case anything happens, they're still kind of close. Just because their teammate is in last place. So, you know, if one person goes back, then that's where the action starts, and anything can happen at that point. So that looks like in 13, Teddy Nicolosi with crew Anisha Arcott. And here on board, we've got Tufts. They've got a pretty flat boat. Looks pretty good.
I hope those boys are applying sunscreen, specifically Dermatone. Sun's out, guns out, it looks like, on that boat.
It is minimal out there.
We are hanging on to this breeze, though. I think the race committee is not stopping these races, and they're doing a great job out there. It's light on this last speed here. The last speed here is tucked a little close to the pier, pretty close to us. I could probably throw a rock and hit them. And so it's pretty shifty, but teams are making the best of it, and which actually helps that Tufts team. You know, the shiftier it is, the more chances there are to catch up.
For the lake, what was the lake called again?
The puddle.
The puddle, right?
Mystic puddle, Mystic Lake.
Yeah, Mystic Puddle. And we've got legend Ken Legler, who is Did you hear? He finally retired. This is it.
He finally did, and he's such a contributor to the sport, such a veteran, such a leader. He's given so much to sailing. So kudos to Ken and his team.
Yeah, I know he's happy to be here, and I think he'll definitely be missed on the college circuit, but we know he's not going anywhere in the sailing world. We'll still see plenty of Ken.
What is going on right now?
And it's getting really dicey out there with this Tufts Yale race. Yale still hanging on to a lead there, but you're going to see more boats just sort of tacking back and forth, just trying to maintain any sort of speed at all. Keep their friend Mo on their side. They want to upset Mo. But, you know, it's a risk, though. The more they tack, the more they risk getting flagged by the umpires. So the umpires are probably chatting about it, you know, evaluating, because there is, you know, if you do tack too much, that's a penalty.
Yeah. Let's talk about that a little bit more. You know, the tough thing is in these races, right? So this is it looks like Yale has the 1-2, but in this light stuff, it looks like they abandoned that race that they were just doing 1, 2, 3. 16, 17, 18. That would have been the Navy Academy Midshipmen and Brown University Bears. They've abandoned that start, and you'll see that it's always so tough when you've got finishes like these, because you're so close, but you're literally bobbing to the finish, right? And so there is another race going on as well, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. That's the University of Miami Hurricanes and the Roger Williams University Hawks. So we're just going to have to wait and see. It looks like they're going to count. Without a doubt, I think they should count this race with Yale and Tufts, even though it is a really tough finish. But they've completed most of that race and didn't look like anybody was going anywhere. But then you've got that Hurricanes and...
Well, I think, let's say with this race, Goya, I think that... I heard a few whistles from the umpires there. I don't know if they did actually, in fact, abandon that one or not.
Interesting.
So we'll have to get a call on that later, try and figure out what happened there. The rule there is basically, you know, it was Yale's race to lose the whole time, and if the umpires feel that the conditions were unfair, and there was an unfair advantage gained by the Tufts team there, then they might go ahead and suggest that the race be resailed. Back to a replay here. Really good breeze there coming off the line for Tufts. Tufts looking good off the line. It was a good race all the way around the course. Yale dominated. The umpires are watching. You know, I really don't think a whole lot changed, but to each their zone. Studley Tufts boys there. Yale, incredible boat handling there, working all around the course. And this is where the breeze really started to fall apart.
Right around that Mark 4. You know, that final upwind was definitely difficult, and here's that replay, right? You can see it yourselves. I mean, those sails are luffing. They're struggling to fill there.
Yeah, they're changing tacks like they change underwear.
All right, folks. Well, you know, the breeze, it died in these races a little bit, but I got good news for you. It's starting to fill in. Looks like we might be having the southerly breeze we've been waiting for. So what that means is the race committee will have to move around and shift around the race course, which I'm sure won't take too long, but you know, stick around. We're going to take a quick break, but we'll be back and give you live coverage once again the moment those races start off. So thank you, and stick around.
Coast Sailing are proud to support ICSA with the College Sailing Give Back program. When college programs make purchases through their Zim and West Coast Sailing Team accounts, they not only get great equipment, great service, and great discounts, but also 5% of their purchase is donated back to ICSA. With the Zim and West Coast Sailing College Give Back program, your general fleet maintenance and sail purchases help with general maintenance of ICSA and provides direct support to the organization that makes it all happen and increases access to the water for all.
Folks, the breeze is up. The beautiful sea breeze has filled in, and I think that we've got a lot of racing ahead of us.
Absolutely, Gloria. I just had to reapply my sunscreen. It's balmy out here.
Right, the breeze feels nice though after such a light air morning. So definitely it's all about reapplication of that sunscreen. It's all about staying hydrated.
Yeah, tan lines are the enemy here.
That's for sure. I definitely, I'd have suns out, guns out.
Yeah, it's definitely a suns out, guns out day. Everyone lets it be that way.
Right, I'm looking over here at Dartmouth and they're looking, they're rocking it.
Yep, doing a buzz in the tower to the fans.
Nice.
But we're back.
Yeah, and it sounds like that you can hear the starting sequence. Essentially, they're resailing the race 24, the University of Miami Hurricanes versus Roger Williams University Hawks. By resale, I mean, folks, they had to abandon that race that they were sailing since the breeze died. And so now this is essentially almost an advantage for that losing team to kind of start over.
Yeah, it's a fresh slate, Gloria. And don't sleep on Miami here. Miami in their qualifiers in SESA, Miami did a series sweep against Charleston and knocked them actually out of this competition. So don't sleep on Miami here.
And if I'm not mistaken, Charleston has notoriously done very well in team racing as well. And I think this is the first time they haven't been here in quite some time. So, yeah, you're right. We got to keep our eyes on you, Miami. They have a pretty strong roster. They have Atlee Cole, 25, Stephen Hardy, 26, and Aiden Dennis, 25. So, definitely worth keeping your eyes on them.
Absolutely here. We're coming down to the final second to the start.
And it looks like it's a pretty action-packed start. You're seeing 11 and 8 already getting into it. 8's doing a pretty good job of circling back around. Keep in mind, Miami is in boats 7, 8, 9. Roger Williams in 10, 11, 12.
Wow.
You know what I like about Raj is I like it when they rock the bucket hats. I'm a fan of that.
I do like a bucket hats, and you see boats going back at Miami boats, showing that aggressive Roger Williams style.
Right. Yeah, it's definitely something to take note on. There's some teams that have, keep their distance a little bit at the pre-start, and then there's teams that really nail into that. Once the 2-minute start goes off, you are allowed to really start that action in team racing. So 10 had a pretty great start there. They're pretty windward of 9, but it looks like they've got pretty great speed.
Yeah, it looks like Roger Williams controls that right side of the course here, just already clamping down on their team on Miami here.
Yeah, each boat kind of has a pair, so it looks like Miami's going to really have to make something happen here. Just keep sailing fast and see if you can get anything on one of the Raj boats.
Yep, so we got Miami in the pink boats, Roger Williams in the black boats there.
I gotta say, watching Miami on their tacks, they've got pretty strong tacks there.
I'm telling you, don't sleep on Miami here. It's all about that U, as they say.
Right. What did you call them? The potential dark horse.
I think there's something there. I do. I think that they got some fight in them, and anybody can win out here. Absolutely.
So that was a great tack from 7 and 11 out here on the left. You saw they started kind of coming a little bit close to the break wall. But from my point of view, it looks like they're both over the ley line to mark 1. So what we're going to want to see from 11 here is essentially really holding out boat 7, keeping them from mark 1. But I will tell you what, look at 10. 10 has a pretty good grab on 9, so 9's and 10's doing a great job of covering them here. 9, I'm not sure I would have even tacked there. I would have, they kind of just tacked into the bad breeze of boat 10.
Yeah, but like I said, Roger Williams doing a great job of controlling Victory Lane there, controlling that right side of the course. It looks like they're going to round here, I think, in a 1-2 combination right now. Raj, they're in control here. Oh, I could be wrong. I was wrong there. Looks like Miami is in second here.
Right. So worth noting that victory lane, why is it so victorious? It's because you have that starboard advantage. So for my non-sailors watching out there, starboard will always trump port in the sport of sailing. Not beyond sailing, just any right of way with any sort of yachts or boats, anything on the water really.
Wow, incredible shot there from the drones. Really get you. There's a whole race there, Miami.
I'll tell you what, now 8 has an potential opportunity to sit on boat 10 and kind of cover their breeze. You really want to be careful. If you're boat 8, you really want to kind of keep a little bit of distance, but just close that gap between 10. Now, if they go windward of boat 10, they're going to get left up pretty hard and they're going to put in the gap. Now, if they go leeward of boat 10, you can guarantee that boat 10 is going to jibe on a starboard and take them out all the way up to wind.
Yeah, but if we rewind that whole thing, Gloria, I think boat 8 there held the second position and really threw their knife, as I like to say, and went a little bit too aggressive and ended up losing that battle. And so now they're chasing that 1-2 combination.
Yeah, but I will say this much. It looks like there's a U-Miami boat that's kind of punching up ahead. Boat 9 just sailing fast down the race course, and they might be advantaged on boat 10 here. But that's where Roger Williams comes in so strongly. Boat 12 put in a little bit of a bump there, right? Kind of put in a little bit of that gap between 9. And so 9's doing a great job here, pushing the boat 1, holding them back, bringing them towards their teammate so they can make some action happen.
Yeah, Miami making Roger Williams work for it here.
They're definitely not going to let him walk away with that 1-2. And so it's a little bit of a tough spot for you, Miami, here. They're rounding outside of both Raj boats. But wow, what an avoidance there on boat 10. And so now you, Miami, rounding in a 2-3. They are making Raj work.
Absolutely. So now that's a, it's still Roger's race to lose here. But Miami in a much stronger position than before. They have a 2-3-6 right now. Roger Williams in the 1-4-5. It's going to be a close one.
Yeah, so what you really want to see here, boat 9's doing a pretty good job of keeping 10 behind. 8's kind of pushing 12 there. But, what we're hoping for here, if this U-Miami team, they just want to really realize that they really got to clamp back on 10 and kind of close the gap between their 6, right? They want their 6 to get back into action. So they want to slow this race down as much as possible. That way their 6 has that opportunity to come back up. Awesome, and here we have an instant replay of that Mark III. So it looks like 10 went for that duck. 10 is outside. 9 has room on boat 10, so they let their teammate through. Boat 8. And 10 is rounding outside of boat 9. They both jibed in with overlap, so 9 is avoiding boat 10 there. But there you can see in a smidge moment, it looks like 9 had broken overlap with 10. Therefore, 10 can no longer push them up to wind. That was excellently done on U-Miami's part.
And so what we're looking at here is the match race going on at the back of the race. This is the 5-6 pair, and this is where the magic happens. This is a freshman here from Roger Williams doing a great job at controlling that race. Switching up now to the front of the race. This is seems like Roger Williams might be. They're trying to go for a 1-2 here. Actually, it looks like.
Yeah, so 9 kind of tacked off. Presumably, they're just trying to get some better pressure. They're trying to get their speed back. And you know what? They're looking pretty good. I will give all credit where it's due. Boat 9 from U-Miami is doing an excellent job slowing down that Roger Williams boat, which makes me think, what's going on with the Roger Williams boat over to the left, boat 12? They kind of just let the piggy in the middle. They let go of the piggy in the middle there.
I think 12's being just a little conservative, not doing too much too soon, keeping that. He wants to keep that first place, but doesn't want to get too involved. He's trusting his teammates. It's still Roger's race to lose right now. Roger has a huge gap between the 4 and the 5, and I'd say Roger's pretty strong here.
And it looks like, there you go, the U Miami boat is trying to do, it's a Hail Mary here. They're really just trying to draw a foul at the end, trying to make something happen.
Right. That's your 4th down play right there. That's your 4th down. Just lob it up, trying to get something going. But I think that's ultimately going to be a Roger Williams win.
Roger Williams,
That's a great win for Roger. Good way to bounce back. They took a digger earlier, so good fight there by the Hawks.
I will say, though, U Miami certainly put up a fight there, and
Absolutely.
They had some really, really great moves. So, like you were saying, don't sleep on them. Roger Williams is definitely.
Don't sleep on the U.
Yeah, they're one of those highly seeded teams. Here,
look at this action here. They were going. Claws were out early. Roger Williams going downwind out of Miami boat there on your left side of your screen. Hands flailing, words exchanged.
And I'll see, even on those upwinds, you can see they have strong boat handling. They were able to stay up to pace with the Roger Williams boats with speed. And here you see they made action happen, right? This was no blowout race by any means. Roger Williams is just a fierce one. They're fierce. They're a force to be reckoned with in team racing. There's no doubt about that. But U Miami was definitely holding it down. Plenty of action on the upwinds here, as you can see. I think U Miami's boat 8 did a stellar job of really pinning down on the Raj boats and just really giving them that bad air.
And kudos to, I think, Roger for not trying to force anything, keeping their calm, sticking to the play. Really, they didn't panic and swoop down and try and take somebody out really quickly. They're confident. They just, slow and steady there.
Yeah, you couldn't be more right about that. That's for sure. Well, what
beautiful view of the broadcast booth there. Yep. Hi, Mom. Good to see you. Love you.
Yeah. So we can't go without saying how lovely Coral Reef has been. I mean, you can see their logos all across the venue. They made those logos themselves, and they've put together such incredible gear. I mean, the range of gear that they have, and it's all Regatta branded. They've got T-shirts and sweatshirts, tech tees, you name it, hats, backpacks. I mean, it's truly incredible what they've put together for this event.
Yeah, they can outfit your whole sailing team.
Your whole team, your whole event, you name it, and they've got it.
They got you covered. Any team, really, not even like a sailing team. Any team you got, they got you.
I mean, they decked out our Rodrigo head to toe. He's out there toughing it out. He's tough, just like Coral Reef. He does it the hard way, taking the time, care, and effort, just like Coral Reef. Just like Coral Reef. And here, take a look at your screens, folks. You've got 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Off the starting line here.
Looks like I think we're right around 1:15 to go here. Looks like we got Stanford and Purdue. Stanford in the 789, Purdue in the 10, 11, 12. That's your 1 minute gun, so.
Now, if I'm not mistaken, I believe Stanford still has all 3 women out there.
I believe so. No reason to take them out. I mean, they've been killing it.
You couldn't be more right. let's go ahead and take a look who we've got from those teams. But seems like it's a little bit less of an aggressive start between these two teams. Nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that.
No. And Purdue, they're controlling the right side. Stanford looks like they're gonna their pin boat, the boat all the way on the left there, is just trying to go fast there.
Yeah, from Purdue, they're called the Boilermakers. We've got Odie Hariri, 24, Justin Skeen, 24, James Miller, 23. So a little bit of an older team there. And then we've got Nakin Chan, 24, Zachary Gold, 24, Hadley Zeller, 26. So I would say that they're a little bit of an older team. Looks like they've got quite a few juniors on there. And, you know, they made it all the way out from the Midwest. That's definitely a bit of travels for them. And they're going up teams that they definitely don't see all year.
Yeah, they're going against some difficult teams out here, but, you know, I think they're really pumped to be here. I think they're great exposure for them to see the top teams and how they do it. But I think they're loving every minute of it. And I think they're going to give it at all. I think that's one race at a time for them, and they'll keep fighting to the end.
No doubt about that. It looks like Stanford, though, has had a stellar race, essentially just winning all their pairs. What beautiful tacks, just watching boat 9, pinmost boat from Stanford, stellar tack. Beautiful roll tacks from them. I mean, their boat handling is definitely some of the best, without a doubt, and we've seen that in fleet racing for them. Stanford just doing a great job of keeping all their pairs and essentially having full coverage of the entire race course here. So you can see boat 9 here, boat 7 and 10, right? 7 is keeping 10 within their coverage zone, same as 12. So 7, one boat is keeping 2 boats within its coverage zone. And then you'll see that boat 9 essentially has 11 in their coverage zone. Boat 9 and 8 are basically coming up to their lay line soon. And it looks like Stanford is still 3-0 as of today. And they still have all women in. They have Hannah Freeman, class of 24, Michelle Larkamp, 23, Vanessa Larkamp, 26, Patricia Gurley, 23, Ellie Harned, 26, and Abigail Tyndall, 23. So looks like the ladies are all dominating, crossing all the Purdue boats right now. 7 just putting in that extra bump, making sure they have 11. But 9 and 8 are so clearly getting around that Mark 1 here.
Yeah, Stanford solidly in control here in that 1, 2, 3.
Yeah, Stanford, I mean, all you'll be looking for here is essentially 7 putting in that gap. And their teammates look pretty launched already. As exciting as it is for Purdue to be here, this is definitely a tough race. And, you know, Stanford women, they've been dominating. So it looks like they have a pretty clear blowout here. And unfortunately, that's just how some team races go.
Yeah, but you know, if you're Purdue, you got to keep your head up. You know, a lot of these teams just objectively practice a lot more than they might. But you know, I think that you got to keep your head up. You got to just take one race at a time, and keep fighting. You can't really get too low.
You couldn't be more right. Yeah, I mean, definitely, nope, never give up. Never give up. There's no doubt about that. And you know, you come out here and maybe you don't win any races, but so long as you have a good time, that's what matters.
We'll
and,
get more. I mean, I hope they they'll take some wins off.
I think there's
anybody can beat anybody out here.
You're right. Yeah. I mean, absolutely. So everybody can win a race.
Back to the start here. We got some boats spinning. It's like Fordham and Harvard.
Fordham in 1, 2, 3. Harvard in 16, 17, 18. Definitely a bit of spinning here off the start. Harvard in the blue boats. You already can see that Harvard is crossing 2 boats, and it looks like Fordham, unfortunately, is still spinning here so close to the starting line. So that's always tough.
Yeah, that is tough. When you have we call that a deep 6. Whenever you got one of your teammates solidly in last, that's tough to come back from, and that's sort of the dagger that puts a lot of races away. And you never want to take yourself completely out of the race. You always want to be, maybe you don't want to win the race off the line, but you want to be close enough to attack.
Right, and Harvard's been having a pretty strong day. They're 2-1 right now, and Fordham is 0-3 right now. So, anything can still happen in this race, even with a deep six, right? You can still make it happen, but just, taking a look at the standings so far, I think Fordham could really use the win. So I can see them fighting back in this race. And here you can even see boat 1 is slightly advantaged on 17. We'll see if they can get some height. Maybe they can still cross 17, but 17's starting to close the gap a little bit. They're looking speedy.
Yeah, so I don't think it's going to be close, but, boat 1 there is going to be fighting for first place there just to try to give his team a chance to get back in this thing. Harvard's going to keep the pedal down, though.
Yeah, Harvard's got a pretty hard pin on boat 2 here. So just keeping that pair and making sure that their team gets up ahead. So it does look like those boats from the left side are not crossing the boats from the right. So, boat 1 looks like they have the ability to possibly round Mark 1 in first.
Yeah, boat 2 looking good there. Nice roll tacks.
There we go, and boat 1 from Fordham is first around the mark safely. It looks like Harvard's rounding in a 2-3-4, 2 very close behind here. So, we can potentially make something happen. All boat 5, and I say all boat 2, and I say that as though it's easy. All they have to do is really catch up to one of those Harvard boats and slow them down enough that their teammate can catch up. So 3 is just going to want to sail as fast as humanly possible. Boat 2 is going to want to just sit on 18. Sit on them super hard on this downwind and make some action happen, right? You want 18 to slow themselves down. If I'm boat 2, I'm trying to get hooked.
Right.
Make something happen.
When you try to spring your other teammate ahead, you think about ways to do that. You can sail more distance. You can maybe get lucky, catch them on a foul. But it looks like boat 2 here trying to make them sail more distance. You see boat 3 on the middle of your screen sailing straight towards the mark. Great shot of boat 3. So boat 3 is just sort of pedal down, not really worried about any team racing, just really worried about going fast.
Right. And so I think their teammates doing a pretty good job kind of distracting Harvard, trying to get them out on that reach, right? It looks like they may have lost them. I don't know how there's such a big gap here, 2 and 18, but they just want to kind of get them, if you can get that foul, that's not the worst thing in the world if you get Harvard to just take you out, right? Try and get them to hook you, right? Slow themselves down so your teammate can catch up. But I will tell you what, Fordham 6 is doing a great job of just sailing fast, right? He's just pedal to the metal.
Yeah, good shot here of Mark 3 coming into the conversion. We'll see how it stacks up. Looks like Harvard maybe trying to squeak into the first position. I think Fordham's still going to have it. They'll be fine. So Harvard not really worried about their teammate in fourth there. They have confidence in their guy, and that just shows that the Harvard guys are confident. They believe in each other, and they're not really worried about their guy in fourth. But I see a little trouble back there, to be honest with you. It's tight back there. Yeah, boat 18 has got 3, clamping on his heels there.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, they definitely did. Fordham did an excellent job here, kind of closing that gap, right, between the 4, 5, 6. Looks like the 6 is closer than we want, right, or closer than Harvard wants, right? And it looks like the 4, 5, 6 are pretty tight, and I think Fordham has a chance here.
Fordham's got a chance, absolutely. I think that.
It's tough. It looks like 18 may have punched ahead of both Fordham boats in the back here.
Copy, rolling
Yeah, so 18 is rounding in the 4, 3 from Fordham in the 5, and 2 from Fordham in the 6. You know what they're going to want to do is they're just going to want to make 18 tack as much as possible. Make Fordham tack as much as possible. That way they slow themselves down and hope that they can get something on one of them.
Yep, so every time you tack, you slow down. Maybe you lose a boat length probably every time you tack. And so, try and get them to slow down. But Harvard's smarter than that. They know the game. They know what you're trying to do. So they might tack a couple times just to cover, just to be conservative, but they're not going to get suckered into that sort of tacking too much slow down game.
Yeah, and you're seeing that right now on your screens, folks. 2 and 3 from Fordham aren't getting Harvard boats to tack that much. And I'll tell you what, Harvard has a pretty good cover scheme going on. So, like you were saying, they're smarter than you think.
Yep. And this is when you start thinking about, if you're the Fordham boat in first there in the middle of your screen, you start thinking about doing something crazy. You start thinking about, what can I do to, do a Hail Mary or a kamikaze, or, sort of do something crazy to try and get a Harvard boat to foul and try to make the improbable happen.
Yeah, and it looks like, Harvard's doing an excellent job here in the 2-3-4. Just right there when they were all lined up is pretty textbook there of just keeping everybody within their coverage zones. Looks like Fordham is just struggling, the 5 and 6, to just catch up there. It's tough because there's a very small moment where you can really kind of close that gap. And it's always around those marks. Once you get around those marks, it's so much harder to make something happen. And it looks like Harvard has finished that race in a 2-3-4. That brings their record up to 3-1. And unfortunately for Fordham, that's their record 0-4 after this race. And keep in mind, folks, these teams are fighting to move on to the top 8. So, and that depends on, of course, the breeze and the weather and so on. But essentially, the goal of this event is to have the top 16 teams. Yeah, so those top 16 teams, you want them all fighting for top 8, and the goal is to have the top 8 then race against one another and then have a final 4. So these teams, they're essentially right now battling it out in every single race, hoping to finish in the top 8. That way they can move on and keep fighting for the finale. Unlike fleet racing, where you go out and you race, you've got 18 races, hopefully, and the person with the, every single race is different. But here you kind of have a chance to fight back. And here we have an excellent start with 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. We've got Miami in 7, 8, 9, and Tulane in 10, 11, 12. Tulane, very strong team racing team. They did pretty well at Team Race Nationals last year. And as you know, they're the champs of the Open Fleet Race Nationals of last year. So they're definitely out, and they're here to fight.
Absolutely, Gloria. And, Tulane, I think they managed to stay off of Bourbon Street last year at the Fleet Race Championships, and, I bet they'll do just fine here close to New York City, but they'll be quick.
Yeah, and you can see, actually, Miami is doing. They had a really great pair on the right side. You can see that we've got Tulane going for the pinch off, and boat 8 on 11 doing looks like Thad Letsom was doing an absolutely stellar job just trimming in his main and hiking hard, getting a little bit of windward heel and pinching off that Miami boat.
Yeah, Battle of the South here.
Right? Here we've got 7 and 12. 12 looks like they're starting to punch out from 7. Potentially 7's going to have a hard time holding on to their lane here. 12 12 is trying to just pinch off boat 7 here. You're just really trying to fight for that spot. There you go. You see 7 tacked off, 12 also tacking off right along with them. 12 looks like they have a pretty good hold on boat 7 here.
Yeah, right now I'm giving the race to, I believe, Tulane, that is, in the black boats. Yeah, it looks like Tulane's pretty strong here. Possible 1-2 by the winner mark. And the breeze, you can tell people is up. Crews are on the rail now. They're not, their heads aren't in the boat. They're up, keeping the boats flat. The flatter you are, flat is fast. Yeah, so around mark 1 here, Tulane with the early lead.
A 1-2, but I'd hold on to your horses. That's looks like a 1-2-6 for Tulane, and I'll tell you what, Miami just trailing really closely behind in 3 there. And I'll tell you what, it's not easy being in a 1-2 around mark 2.
It ain't easy being cheesy, that's for sure.
I'll tell you what, it's really difficult. You know, the pressure is on when you've got the 1-2, but when you've got a really close boat 3, and if they do a really excellent job of slowing you down, then it can get pretty dicey, pretty spicy.
Oh, and I think that was a mistake there by boat 10. Boat 10 lit boat 7, Miami, slip inside there. 12 knows it, and he's got to balance back, try to force 7 to try and reestablish that 1-2 combination. But 7, nice job there, sneaking inside, getting into victory lane, and you know, he's wedged himself right now. The action is right there in that front, trying to wedge himself between the 2 two-lane boats.
Right, and so that's exactly what we're talking about, folks. The play 1s can be quite difficult on those downwinds. Miami doing an excellent job of just really making something happen. They are just putting themselves in there and making sure that Tulane doesn't fly away with the 1-2. And so here we see 12 jibing out and having to take a duck here on boat 7. Here we go. So it looks like Tulane's boat 12 is starting to play back on Miami's other boat. Boat 10 doesn't even have mark room coming up to mark 3. So boat 7 looking slightly advantaged on 12, but it looks like 12 will probably have mark room on boat 7, unless that's a duck I'm seeing.
Yeah, it looks like 7's going to round the mark first here.
Miami coming in.
Oh,
I don't.
Oh, okay. All right, so Miami opting to go more aggressive.
That was a little bit tough of a move there. I'm not sure how I felt about that.
Yeah, this is gonna be a close one to the end. Kind of a, you know, Tulane's still winning this race. It looks like they're about a 1-3, trying to convert to a 1-2.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, I'm not sure that I would have done what Miami did there. I would have just tried rounding there, but taking that 2-lane boat when Miami right there, and you can see it deep in the action, boat 12 windward of that Miami boat, and potentially.
Oh, calling for a foul there. Look at a replay, just going really aggressive there. Maybe you just did a little too much too soon.
Right. There you go, and now it looks like we've got a little bit of a.
Wow, that is a Charlie Foxtrot, as we like to say.
Big spice here from Tulane, but they made it happen, rounding in a 1-2, 9 and 8, super close behind, and 9 may or may not have had a piece of 10 there. Tulane 6 very close behind, and boat 12 there. But 9 is just kind of sitting there. I want to see him bringing it back to the middle, right? Here's the thing, boat 9, if they just keep extending out to the side, they're essentially taking themselves out to the race. They're doing exactly what Tulane wants them to do, which is just go out to the side. You wanna, if you're the losing team, you want to bring it back to the center, bring it back to the action, bring it all the boats back together, and then you have a better chance there.
Yeah, when you're behind like that, the more you sail to the sides of the course, the more you sort of eliminate your options to catch up, and you become one-dimensional in order to finish. You got to sail basically one way up the course. You've eliminated all the other possibilities to yourself.
Yeah, and it looks like 10 and 11 have done a great job here. Even it looks like both two Miami boats have brought themselves quite far behind here. Boat 10 has full coverage of 8 and 12 out to the right. They're tacking off. 8 still has coverage of 12. So we can only assume that 10 is coming back to make sure that 11 is advanced on the teammates and going to cross the boats out from the right side. Looks like 11 is able to come across the boats out on the right. So in my eyes, I think this is a win for Tulane already.
Yeah, I think you're right, Gloria. And whenever you try to dissect a race and try and figure out why you lost, you got to work 10 steps back. You can't, look at one particular moment. You're like, well, how did that moment set up? Where was I here? What was you got to work back, or did I have a bad tack? Did I jibe poorly? Was I too aggressive? And that's my opinion there. I think that Miami was just a little bit too aggressive on that Mark III encounter.
Well, I gotta say, that was definitely, like you were saying, don't sleep on you, Miami. They made Tulane sweat there.
Yep, absolutely.
There you go, and what an excellent finish there by Tulane with the 1-2. But you saw it there. They were going around Mark 1, and they definitely, Miami, right back in the mix on this downwind, as you can see it. Miami made it happen. They ended up getting up ahead of boat 10, even getting all the way into first. But I think it was a mistake right there, as you can see it on your screen. I think they should have just went for the mark rounding instead of getting a little bit greedy there and heading up that Tulane boat that just didn't have the room on them.
Yeah, I'd agree with you, Gloria.
Greed can do a lot in team racing.
Hope is a dangerous thing, let me tell you. Hope is a dangerous thing. You start hoping, you gotta look at what it is.
You couldn't be more right. So now at the start, we've got a very interesting race, at least for me, especially my alumna. We've got the St. Mary's College of Maryland Seahawks in 4-5-6, and the Roger Williams Hawks in 13-14-15. And I hear that boat 6 is over the starting line. Not good for my alumna, the Hawks. 6 is over the starting line, so they're going to have to turn back around.
Yeah, interesting to try to start on port there. That's a bold move, Cotton.
Tell you what, you're right. So it looks like Roger Williams, boat 14. Looks like 5. That's a tough start for 5. I mean, they've got a Roger Williams boat pretty close to leeward, and they tacked off, which is definitely the right move to get out of there. But Roger Williams, boat 15. Wow, what an incredible cross here. Must have had a stellar pin start there.
Yeah, so a lot of times you put your really fast guys at the pin to try and, his job is basically go fast, start the pin, and try and take that first position.
And they're going out to the right side, which, as you call it, the right side is?
I like victory lane, baby.
So 13 and 4 going out left. Now, 4 may have a piece of 13, but that's potentially on 14. But, I mean, that's looking tight there.
Yeah, so it looks like Roger Williams has the first.
Oh, and we're seeing hands raised from 13. Let's wait to... Oh, and... hands are being raised here.
So what the protest is there for, I'm not sure. The only binding hail in sailing, as we know, is as room to tack. And once you hail room to tack, you have to take it. you have to tack at that point, and I think that's what that Roger Williams boat was protesting, that he did not tack when he called for it.
And I'll tell you what, so in that heat of the moment, boat 4 from St. Mary's was able to punch out with speed out from the 2 Roger Williams boats of 14 and 13. 4 is now arguably in second, probably going to duck boat 15 here.
Right, so this is what you're looking at right here. You could sort of see, you could see exactly, you have to raise your hand and call room to tack. And at that point, it's a binding hand where they have to tack.
Right.
And it didn't seem like the umpires were in a position to make that call, and so you see a green flag there, most likely. That's what I can tell from the replay booth. Yeah. But I've never lost a race from the dock, let me tell you.
It looks like 15 still did a pretty good job of just staying advanced. That was the Roger Williams boat that won the pin. And as you can see it, folks, he looks like he's going to be rounding Mark 1 in the 1. We're hoping to see boat 4 following here, tacking right on the hip of 13. And you know what? They did tack in with overlap. So I'm curious to see if boat 4 will try and make anything happen in those regards. 14 now going for the luff on 4. Tacking around Mark 1. The great news for St. Mary's is boat 6 is close behind. All the boats, it's a tighter race. Boat 4 just needs to do everything they possibly can to just sit on the further advanced Raj boat and hope to slow them down on this downwind.
Yeah, so I think Roger Williams is doing a good job getting in their groove here for, you know, in the... When you zoom out and look at the regatta as a whole, Roger Williams getting into their groove here, sailing a lot more consistently, more like themselves. Rounding here in a 1-2 combination, very stable. They got a nice little gap there. So, you know, I'm confident in my roadie hawks here. Oh, 2 hawks. Yeah, you're right. Yeah. It's a bird fight here.
It's a bird fight. Yeah, so you see that looks like boat 4 from St. Mary's is essentially doing what they can. They're going high with that Raj boat, the closest Roger Williams boat to them, in an attempt to just slow them down in any way possible. And a good job from the St. Mary's boat, boat 6, that was furthest behind. They're just pedal to the metal, sailing straight to Mark 3.
Yep.
But Roger Williams does an excellent job here just balancing in the 1-2. It takes a certain kind of confidence to really hold a 1-2. And look at that chop that's coming down, folks. You can see it on your screens here. Chop, they're really riding that chop out left, especially looking downwind.
So it's always a balance. I think one of the difficult parts of team racing is that managing the balance between speed and control. And when I say control, controlling the other boat and just trying to go fast. So, I mean, they always say, you know, if you go fast enough, you don't really have to team race, and that's certainly true. But, you know, when everyone's fast out here, you know, that balance comes into play.
I'll tell you what, you were saying the Roadie Hawks, but I'm seeing the Seahawks, the Maryland Hawks, boat 6 pedaled to the metalled, might have pedaled to the metalled all the way themselves into first. Boat 6 potentially making something happen here with 15. I'll tell you what, they definitely closed the gap there.
Well, you know, don't get too excited yet.
I'm excited.
I know.
Can't help it, you know.
15 still controlling that inside.
They're doing a great job. There's no doubt about that.
Yeah, this is that knife
hopeful.
fight. Yep, this is that exactly. You gotta fight for it. You gotta believe in it. But yeah, this is that knife fight that I was talking about. 15 just doing enough. Just doing just enough to...
Not too much.
Yeah, like a boxer. Jab,
but
jab.
Look at that.
And then sometimes you got to lay the right hand. You know, you got to jab, set up your power punches, you know?
I'll tell you what, though. It looks like on that downwind right side, boat 4 came out ahead of 13. So the Seahawks are not out.
Nope, not at all.
Let's see boat 6 doing a great job of recognizing, hey, my teammate number 5 is in the 6. I don't care about the 1. I got to look behind me and make something happen behind me. So 4 and 6 from the Seahawks definitely want to be playing back here. Now, I'll tell you what, 6 has a little bit more pressure on here because they're dealing with the 3. So they're about to get... Oh, yep. But 4 making it happen here from the Hawks. Recognized that his teammate needed help. His teammate does not have room. 4 is going to be asking for room here. And 4 doing a great job of just slowing down 14. But I'll tell you what, St. Mary's Seahawk that's in boat 5 is really getting worked by the Roger Williams boat 13.
Yeah, and I mean, this is what Roger Williams practice all the time, right? They practice boat on boat. They practice getting close combat, close situations, and they'll push the envelope.
Yeah, and they're just doing an excellent job of just putting in that gap. That way, if one of their teammates, something happens, they still have a deep 6 from the opponents. So it looks like Roger Williams rounded in a 1-4-5, and the Seahawks in a 2-3-6. Looks like it lined up a little bit out there. 13 and 5 kind of just going in these waves. We've got some waves out there. Oh, that looks bouncy. 13 needs to be really careful here as the windward boat because, you know, if they come down on 5 by accident while maneuvering so heavily with their tiller here, they could potentially foul. Wow.
Right, so this is...
That's that's a little bit, that's interesting take there. That was interesting. Did you see that there?
Yeah, so this is the fight that goes on. This is in that 2-3-6, 1-4-5 combination. What you see here is Roger Williams trying to put a gap, as we call it, and this is the match race of team race that goes on. This is the one-on-one battle. You know, this is where you sort of look the other guy straight in the eyes and say, I'm going to dominate you. And this is the fun spot. This is always the spot that I had the most fun with. And this is the spot where, you know, I think some of the strongest sailors thrive.
What are some things you'd say to the opponent as you're just...
I like to be pretty polite. I like to say, excuse me, excuse me, excuse me. You know, it's a proper sport.
Oh, excuse me. I'm going to destroy you.
Yeah.
That's, sounds about right. All right, it looks like boat 5. Hey, boat 5 has some pretty good speed on 13. This is where that fleet racing kind of comes in. You know, look at your view, folks, you know. Boat 5 got 13 to tack off. That says something.
Right, so that's a concession.
Oh.
A little bit, so that makes it a little bit more interesting. You see the fleet has condensed a little bit. I don't know if Roger Williams is changing strategies now.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh.
And 4 has something on 14. I'll tell you what, though.
So this is...
it was at some contact.
It's anyone's race right now.
Oh, and boat 4 is spinning. I saw some contact on the rudder there between 4 and 13. 5. Okay, bold move tacking there on 5.
Yep, I love Roger Williams swooping in there.
That may have been a foul. I'm curious to see.
Wow.
No foul. Okay.
Look, and now Roger Williams working on the right side of that course. They found an opportunity just to go fast. They're going to work to that right side, and I think that's all she wrote.
13 knows what to do here. It's just gap, take that ace, and they know how to put in the work on that 6. That's tough. It looks like Raj just got some great boat speed out right. I'll tell you what, though, 14 may not be safe out there. We'll see if 5 can get a piece of 14. That's 5's goal. 5 is like, I got to go fast. If I'm going to make anything happen, it's because I'm going to catch up to one of these guys.
Yeah. And it's gone just...
Yeah, but Roger Williams doing a great job of
going
controlling
for a dial down. Tough. Okay.
Controlling that right side of the course.
Let's see if 5 can get a luff up here on 14, but it just looks like it's too late. And Roger Williams, that was very well done, finishing in a 1-2-5. I believe they'll finish in the 5, and the St. Mary's Seahawks in 3-4 and potentially 6.
Yep.
So that's a loss for the Seahawks.
Sorry to the your alma mater, Gloria. Rhode Island is the best.
Well, you know the funny thing is I live in Rhode Island now. I'm actually your neighbor in Newport.
Yep. Gloria and I are neighbors pretty much.
We are neighbors, so you know, I'm also kind of rooting for Roger Williams in that sense because I'm a roadie now too.
Oh. St. Mary's is still listening.
Yeah, I know.
But I think Roger Williams is really hitting their stride there. I think they're sailing a lot like themselves. This is the classic. What you're looking at here is the classic debrief after every race that every team goes through. Of, what went wrong, what could we do better.
It looks like
Where did we mess up?
Yeah, it looks like that's Leo Boucher. He is senior Seahawk. Just crowned a Mesa Sailor of the Year.
Wow.
He has crew Ellie Sikowski, class of 23, also a senior. It looks like he's talking to Owen Hennessy, class of 25, with crew Sam Muir, 22. Their last teammate is Felix Cutler, 26, and Matty Bashaw, 24. But before we talk more about the Hawks, we got to talk about Rodrigo.
Look at him go.
Look at him go. Rodrigo.
What a stud.
Rodrigo works so hard. There he is.
And there's our tax dollars at work. Look at those. I mean, what a beautiful boat. That's where my taxes go, and Rodrigo making the best use of his taxes there.
Rodrigo, he doesn't believe in compromise. He doesn't compromise. Rodrigo does it the hard way. And you know what? Coral Reef Sailing Apparel, they believe in doing it the hard way, taking the time, the care, the commitment and effort to getting it right, damn it.
Wow.
Okay. Every piece of apparel, it's custom designed by a person. By a person and for a person like Rodrigo.
Absolutely.
Look at him.
Wow, you got me.
He doesn't
you got me
rest.
fired up, Gloria.
Yeah, did I?
I'm ready to run through a wall.
We got to get you on a boat. We got to get you on a boat. Show him how it is. Let's get you powered up, riled up on that boat. Look at him go, Rodrigo. I mean, can you imagine having to wear that thing? He does it the hard way. He gets it done. He gets it done.
What a rig there.
I know.
What his rig tension is on that thing.
Just testing out the wind.
Back to replay here.
Wow, look at that. I mean, we love that action.
So I think, Roger Williams doing a good job right there, as you saw, just, calling for the foul, but not initiating contact. As soon as you initiate contact, it's going to go either way. It could go against you or them. So, playing it conservative. But good job by Roger Williams. Fast already all the way in the downwind. Good fight by the Hawks.
Yeah.
14 freshmen here from Roger Williams doing a great job. Very, confident. A lot of freshmen don't get to start here on the team racing, but really, kudos to him.
Yeah, and 15 did a great job of just kind of gapping and keeping the 6 behind until boat 4 from St. Mary's. Right here, I'm fascinated. Boat 4, I had a feeling. You can see them raising their hand, calling for an umpire call there. Must have been a green flag. I also was curious whether or not around that Mark 3, if there would be a call.
Yeah, so this is...
Here you can see, Roger Williams had gained some pretty good control in that upwind. There was definitely some spice at one point in time, but all it takes is one wrong move, and it can totally go out your way. It was that spin from boat 4. Boat 4 ended up spinning halfway up that upwind, and after that, it was almost over for the Hawks.
Back to the starting line. We're looking at, I think we got Dartmouth and Tulane on deck, I believe.
On deck, we have Stanford University Cardinal versus the U.S. Coast Guard Academy Bears.
Oh, Dartmouth, U-Miami.
Dartmouth and U-Miami. We've got Dartmouth in boat 7, 8, 9. U-Miami 10, 11, 12. I want to see, is this going to be more of an aggressive pre-start or a more timid one? Pearson, what kind of starter were you in college, would you say? Were you one of the more aggressive pre-starters or one of the more timid, I'm just going to get a safe, reliable, get off that line?
I was always a pin starter, and I wanted certainty, and I wanted to control, so I was always more of the aggressive type. But there's only so much you can do as a pin start. As a boat person, you have a little bit more liberty to tack towards the right or control. But I remember we used to go against teams that would have one particularly good sailor, and I would just kind of go after them on the start and take out their best guy just at the start, and that takes maybe the other two are weaker, then if you put their best guy in last, so that one less thing to do with. It was sort of a special situation. We wouldn't always do it, but that's what. That was part of that was one of the plays in the playbook for sure.
You went straight for their heads.
Cut the snake off at the head,
All right. Miami and Dartmouth. Curious to see how Dartmouth is doing so far. Pretty stellar day. They're 3-1. Miami. I'm still waiting for them to win a race. They're 0-4, but anything can happen. And I'll be honest, they've been quite strong in every single race. They've been putting up a fight every single time.
Absolutely, and this is sunshine, sunny South Florida weather here, and this is what they thrive in.
Yeah, it's definitely been a hot, steamy one today.
It's funny that the best colleges in sailing are in one of the more brutal places.
It's true. All right, 10 had a great start at the pin here, already punching out with a little bit of speed. Boat 10 is Miami. 9 Dartmouth. But I'm seeing their teammate Boat 12 having to tack out almost with a second lane start there. So we'll see how they make it out from the pin. Boat 12, yeah, just a little bit further behind 7. 7 has a pretty strong hold on the Miami boat there. I'd be looking for a tack out there at some point in time.
Who do you give the start to there, Gloria?
I would give that to Dartmouth.
Yep.
I'd give that to Dartmouth. Looks like Dartmouth just is they have pretty strong positions on most of the guys. And that there's 9. 9 just goes. 9 held on for pretty long there. Going for a duck. What we're hoping to see here is that 11 goes with them. And there they go. Isn't that funny? I look like I'm a fortune teller. It's like I was
wow.
Wow.
Saw that coming.
I was hopeful they'd do it. 11 going back with 9. 9 doing a pretty good job of just slowing down 11, getting them to tack a lot. That looks like in a boat 9 is Maddie Hawkins and Aisling Sullivan of the Dartmouth Green. Dartmouth Big Green. Not regular green, Big Green. And there you go. Boat 8 has a pretty controlling position on boat 10 out to the left side here. Boat 11, coming across on starboard on boat 9 from Dartmouth.
Anytime a boat ducks you, goes right behind you very close, you can kind of count that as a wash. Anytime they go behind you and to the right, that's almost a wash, that you've almost lost that boat. They've gotten to the right of you, which is already a problem. And they rounded you with speed there. So anytime 9 did a good job getting to the right, maybe you're not totally ahead, but you got a fighting chance.
Yeah, you could. You're right.
So look at it here. We're gonna see it right here. See them come back, and let's see who's ahead here. And see, they look exactly that. That's what I'm talking about. So 9's got a piece of 11, and it all. That's what happened.
Getting ducked is tough.
Get ducked. Get.
You can fill in the blank there, folks.
Fill in the blank there.
I like that. That's good. Good, good rhymes make you remember things,
Yep.
In that instance, maybe they'll listen to this when they rewatch that race and they'll be like, huh, I'll never forget that now. Oh, yeah. Another duck. Ready? Get ducked. Get. Say it with me, folks. You can say it, but I can't. All right, every time
12.
somebody gets ducked, that's what we're going to say.
So this is right at the top mark. You got to round mark 1 here pretty tight. Otherwise,
that was definitely a bold move on 12, having a...
All right, so what's our combo here, Gloria? Who's...
It's a great question. It looks like we've got Dartmouth in a 1-5-6, Miami in a 2-3-4. Miami, guys, don't sleep on them. I'm saying it right now. Even after those ducks still came out.
Yep.
All right, so the thing is 10, 11, and 12 Miami, what they want to do here is make sure that they get great coverage on this downwind and just make sure they're all sailing in the best clean air possible. And here's the thing. You always want to keep an eye on the 5 and 6. Split it up, right? And pick the person you're going to go with and make sure that they cannot advance ahead of you and your teammate. Worst comes to worst, if one of them takes out your teammate, there's 2 of you that can move back and bring your teammates back forward.
Yep. So with that 2, 3, 4, everyone has a job, and 2 there is going to sort of just push the 1 around the course, just push them ahead. 3 is kind of a floater. You kind of go where you need it, and 4 just has to beat a boat. That's what you're looking at here. So 12 sailing high there, and she's like, all right, I'm just going to beat 7, and I'm going to rely on my teammate towards the bottom of the run to catch me up if I'm behind the other boat, and call that the balancing act of team racing, and that's the whole game.
Yeah, and you take a look at 7 on 12 here. The view is that 7's doing a pretty good job of making boat 12 sweat a little bit, right? Now, if you're in the 5 and the 6, you want that team up ahead of you to slow themselves down. So boat 7 doing a good job. They're waiting for boat 12 to try and hook them, right? But 12 is doing a good job of resisting the temptation. It's so easy when a boat gets windward of you. You like, I just want to take them out. I want to take them out.
Yeah, you can't have tunnel vision. You want to, you got to go hard and take somebody out when you have to, but you don't want to put yourself in last either and end up, have your pair be 5, 6.
And here it is. Boat 9 looks like they came out advantaged over boat 12. Looks like this 2, 3, 4 got split up here. Boat 11 doesn't even have a piece of boat 9 here. Looks like 9 is going to cross boat 12. That would give... Looks like Dartmouth potentially has a 1, 3, 4, if not a 1, 3, 5. If Dartmouth rounds in a 1, 3, I can see
it's tough
them
to tell here, yeah,
going for a 1, 2 here. But 9 doing a good job taking out 11, making sure that they slow things down a little bit, get their teammate up ahead. Dartmouth knows one thing for certain, and that's if they have that Miami boat in 6th, and they have their teammate staying in the 1, they'll be looking pretty good. That's definitely a big trust thing with the team here. Looks like Dartmouth has made it happen here. 10 definitely. 10 is trying to make something happen here. Those jibes look slightly sloppy, but that's all right. I'm hearing whistles blowing. A potential protest situation. 10 just wants to slow super hard on boat 7. It looks like Dartmouth rounded in the 1, 3, and there's no doubt in my mind that Dartmouth's 1 is going to be sticking around here trying to make a play 1 happen.
Yep, so 10's just got to wedge himself right in between, make this pass back, make this exchange between conversion from 1-3 to 1-2 take as long as possible. Try and get his teammates back in. It's sort of like gang tackling as you would in football. Maybe you can't get the big guy down all at once, so you get the whole gang in together and try to make it a team effort.
Yeah, and it looks like they're still working on it, coming up to that. Not too much work. It looks like Dartmouth did that. Yep. They made it happen. Well done there by Dartmouth. Now in a 1, 2, and you know what? Boat 9 did an excellent job. You know what they did?
What'd they do?
They kept the ace.
Nice.
They kept the ace.
Ace is the race, baby.
You are so good at rhyming.
I was never any good with poetry.
You know what you should be? A rapper.
Oh, man. This white boy, huh?
You're the next Eminem. Or Mac Miller.
Stop it. I'm blushing,
anybody.
Stop it. I'm blushing.
All right, and taking a look at your view here, folks. Boat 7 looking pretty speedy here. Boat 8, they've got the Miami boats in their coverage. Boat 10 is just punching it right, just trying to get some speed, some good pressure out there, just kind of sail their own race and see if any kind of pressure can bring them back. But I'll tell you what, 7 7 has got good coverage of 12 and 11, and 9 from Dartmouth is still doing an excellent job of making sure, at this point in time, they're like, so long as I'm, making 11 eat it, my team's in pretty good spot here. As you can see, 8 is pretty punched out, and boat 10 from Miami is pretty far out there. 7 and 8 definitely about across the finish line, and a 1-2, potentially 1-2-4 for Dartmouth, but that looks like a win for them. That would put Dartmouth in 4-1, tying them with the Roger Williams University Hawks. And Miami, unfortunately, that brings our streak to 0-5. But they put up a fight every race.
I feel like Miami has had a couple of tough breaks. I think, a couple of little things here and there, and those little things add up. And they're fast though, and I don't think they're making fundamental mistakes. I think a couple of small things to clean up, and I think they'll be back.
I think as we're watching this, you can see that every single team, no matter which one, and an excellent start. Tulane, Harvard in 4-5-6, Tulane 13, 14, 15. Harvard, an excellent start already. I'll tell you what, Harvard got all 3 boats off the starting line. Tulane, unfortunately, one didn't cross as well. 14. So Tulane's already starting with a boat kind of back of the pack. I'm not sure if they were spinning or not. Here's boat 6 tacking along with 15. That's definitely what you want to be seeing. Harvard's had a very strong day so far, 3-1. Tulane having a little bit of a tougher one, 2-2. But like we saw these are a lot of last year's champs. They're still sailing in this. Same people from last year, so I can see them having a very strong event.
Yeah, I think it's anyone's event at this point, for sure.
No doubt. No doubt. Here we go, and you can see, and both of these teams are very strong fleet racers. So even the boat that's behind, boat 14, I can see them catching up to everybody else pretty quickly.
Absolutely, yeah.
And that's kind of what we're seeing. I'll be honest, you know what else they're doing a great job of? They're going down victory lane.
That's right.
So kind of
14, you gotta just sail faster than a sneeze through a screen door, You gotta just keep the pedal down, and you can't really worry. You gotta just totally switch your brain from team racing mode to fleet racing mode, and you can't
be frustrated about the start. Can't think about it. Just focus on going fast.
That's right.
You got a need for speed. You're like Lightning Queen,
Yeah.
Pressure looking pretty good across the course. I mean, these boats are looking good. Boat 6 just kind of punching it right here from Harvard. But I'll tell you what, right now it looks like Harvard has all 3 pairs. Potentially losing their pair, boat 13 coming up to that mark. But look at that, boat 6 coming in hot. Whoa. Did they make it around?
Oh, wow.
That was bold move by Tulane, boat 13.
Love it.
So Harvard rounding mark 1 in a 2-3-4.
Oh, heartbreak there.
And
Heartbreak.
that's a red flag from the umpires, folks. 13 has to do a 720 penalty turn. Harvard now in a 1-2-3 coming up to mark 2.
But I like the move there, honestly, by Tulane there. Your team's in a 5-6. You need something happen, and if it's tough to tell from here, but I think it was close for sure, and you gotta take a risk here and there when your team's losing.
I don't know. I'll be honest, Pearson. I may have to disagree.
So here's the replay here. Close. So 13's got to keep clear. He tries to swing his stern to get around there and try not to foul. He knows he's the keep clear boat. He knows he's at risk, but tough to tell there if he made it or not, but you know, I definitely agree with the move. I think he made the right call there, and sometimes the umpires don't agree with you.
Yeah, but here's my thing, and his teammates were in a pretty close 5-6. So in my eyes, I almost think that, you know, by doing a 720, he's taking himself out of the race. Almost in a sense. I think that had he kept it a little bit more conservative, he could have done something to bring those teammates back up. I think it's a little early in the race to be doing something so bold.
Yep, absolutely. And hindsight's 20/20. And now is definitely over for sure.
Yeah, so it looks like Harvard's kind of running away with a 1-2-3 here.
But who knows? Anything can happen. I could be wrong. I'll take that back.
No, you might be right. You might be right.
Well, we have a to our viewers out there, we have a new guest, such a champion of the sport of sailing.
It's true.
And such an icon, and been really instrumental in the growth of match racing at the adult level, and been coaching Georgetown for a number of years. Janelle Zarkowski, everybody. Put your hands together. Janelle.
Hi, everybody. Thanks for having me.
Yeah. Janelle.
I can't help but watch sailing every day. I have off.
Yeah. Yeah, it seems like you get a fair amount. Is there any... What do you do when you're not sailing?
When I'm not sailing, I work for U.S. Sailing, helping youth get out sailing.
Incredible.
Wow. This girl doesn't take a break.
Yeah.
And where do you do that, Janelle?
So I'm a remote worker, so I actually don't have to go to the office for U.S. Sailing.
Nice.
But I'm based in Annapolis, Maryland, so I work with community sailing centers in the region, mainly in Baltimore, Annapolis, and D.C.
Incredible.
Yeah.
Incredible.
And
Wow.
what kind of students do you try getting out on these boats? Do you want to walk us through a little bit of the community and the kids you're trying to get out sailing?
Sure. Yeah, we work with middle school age students, getting them interested in the sport so that we can retain them through high school programs, college programs, early adult programs. So I'll go to a community sailing center and I'll work with those instructors that are just rising up, and we'll work on strategies on how to meet kids where they are and make it an inclusive and fun environment so that they want to keep coming back. And sometimes that isn't racing related, but sometimes it is, and then I get really excited and they want to go racing.
Yep.
But it's been really, really rewarding, and it's been really fun to work with both yacht clubs and community sailing programs because they get such unique, diverse populations.
Yep.
Incredible.
Janelle, how do you balance the fun with the racing, and what do you think is the best way to keep kids engaged?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think you have to start slow and then be excited yourself about it. And sometimes the best way to do it is bring them to an older class that's trying it and is really excited, and they see their peers doing it and they see it as the next step. And so when they're excited that their peers are doing it, then all of a sudden they want to try it for the first time, and you can just do it piece by piece. Maybe have them come together at some point, having an intermediate class or a beginner racing class with those beginners. So I think it's slow, I think it's steady, and it's always being really excited and positive about the experience, but not too overwhelming.
Yep.
So a little bit every day.
A little bit every day.
We are so lucky to have you. Let's go ahead and take a look at this Roger Williams U-Pen race. So Roger Williams in a 1-2-3 U-Pen in 16, 17, 18. This is definitely going to be a feisty one, as it looks like they are off. And, U-Pen has a pretty decent start looking at these four boats. 18 is definitely holding their way here, whereas 17 looks like they're a little bit low on one, but we'll see what happens.
Yeah, 17's living in an unhealthy lane. They probably want to tack and do a close duck on one, flick them back to the middle, see how they're doing on the other side of the course. So I think 17 has some power if they tack and do a close duck on boat one here.
Yeah. Oh, and they're 3 and 18 both going over. 17 finally does that close duck.
And we're looking pretty close. Oh, that's Mark II. So we still have some room on port and some nice breeze coming down the left side.
Yeah. And I'll tell you what, though, 17 from UPenn looks like they had a little bit of a tough tack there. They have lost so much distance from boat one. I mean, they were neck and neck, and now they looked like they slid so much coming out of that, which is definitely not what they wanted.
Yeah, the FJs are an unforgiving boat. They go speed or slower. So I think 17 was going a little bit slower the whole time, being just next to one in a little bad air, and now you can see that 1 boat length is now 2 boat lengths behind.
Oh, yeah. And it looks like UPenn doesn't have a really controlling spot of the boat out to the right. So it looks like 2 and 1 both have pretty controlling spots over 17 and 16. We'll see if 17 can kind of pinch off here, but 2 looks like they're pretty comfortably living there.
18 trying to take the 1 position here, and he's not going to get it.
Whoa.
Oh, the last-minute decision there.
Impressive boat handling, avoiding contact there, but unable to make the mark.
Yeah.
So 18 having to do aggressive duck and tack in front of their teammate.
Oh, I mean, that's hope right there. That was hope that was an example of hope going poorly.
Yeah, but we just saw that with the 2-lane boat. The hope, there's very similar, but different scenarios.
Yeah.
One person went for it. One person was like, you know what? I'm not going to risk it.
Oh, and he still fouled.
Oh.
Look.
Sugar.
Yeah.
Hate to see it.
That's tough.
That's the closest boat to the first 3 boats, so
Yep.
this will be a harder race to catch up, but still a downwind, which advantages the boats behind.
Yeah,
so here's the replay here. You got a last-minute decision by UPenn to duck there, and the umpires felt that UPenn did not do enough to keep clear of those Roger Williams boats, and so that last-minute decision cost UPenn.
Yeah, that's tough to see. Looks like Roger Williams is 1, 2, 3 on this downwind, and UPenn in a 4-5 deep 6.
Game of inches. Game of
Absolutely.
inches.
Yeah. Team racing, it ain't easy.
And that's why speed is so important. It's the little things, but they're everything. All right, and the little things add up, and 1 inch turns into a boat length turns into a win. So it's all about getting any edge of speed that you can, and the whole game becomes easier once you're faster. You find yourself doing a lot less team racing and just having a great day on the water.
Yeah. What I definitely want to be seeing from UPenn here, even though Raj has a 1, 2, 3, what I'd love to be seeing is definitely don't give up, right? I would be just doing a wall cover on that downwind on any closest Raj boat. Even if it'll barely do anything, at least it's something,
Yeah, you got to progress through the winning combination. So if you're in a losing one, you got to pick off 1 boat, slide a teammate forward, and work from there. The races are a lot longer than they were this morning, so there's a lot more time to get it done. You just got to be disciplined and do 1 step at a time. Those inches into boat lengths, and then that changes your combination.
Oh yeah. And the water, it's that time of day where the sun is just striking the water just right that it's shiny.
Yeah,
it's hurting the eyes.
The sparkle is tough.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, my retinas are burning out for sure.
No, you don't have any polarization on those, do you?
Yeah, negative. Sometimes I double layer the sunglasses.
That's
but,
it.
There you go.
Let's try it for the broadcast.
And it looks like we've got another start here. We've got Tufts in 4, 5, 6, Purdue in 13, 14, 15. And I'll tell you what, taking a look at that, it looks like a great start for Tufts.
Really strong. Yep. Breathing ahead, their wind ahead of the enemy in all 3 pairs. Really great execution in that last 20 seconds of the start for Tufts.
It's picturesque. Picturesque. So yeah, it looks like Purdue boat 15 tacking off. Boat 5 taking a duck here on Purdue, though. Just staying out with that pair 15 going out right. I'm sure we'll just see them hanging out together over there. What we're looking for is one of these Purdue boats out left to kind of get out of there, right? We're waiting for 13 to really tack off, and 14. 13 and 14 both kind of sitting in a little bit of bad air. We're just waiting for them to get on out of there.
Yeah, some weaker lanes, and now that the boats have spread out, there's definitely a gap in the middle of the course for some fresh breeze. So one of those green boats definitely needs to go back to the middle, and it's great that 13 just tacked there to go into the middle part of the course and see if they can get an advantage.
Right. And the breeze is certainly picking up.
Yeah, definitely. This left side looks beautiful.
Right. Boat 13 kind of getting overpowered even in the middle here. Boat 6 doing an excellent job of just staying flat.
Janelle, how does your strategy change as the breeze come out? Is there anything different in team race that you're thinking about once the breeze comes out?
Yeah, when the breeze comes up, we might be readjusting our boat controls and setting up our boat differently, but honestly, I think they're pretty minimal. As far as where you start on the line, I think it's quite strong for such a short beat to win the edges. So I think it becomes less important about what side has less or more current, because now the breeze being stronger, everything's a little bit more even. So if you can win the left side and you can win the right side, you're in pretty good shape at the first beat. So that boat pair's got to own the right side, and that pin pair's got to be the furthest left boat crossing. And then the race is really easy after that.
Yep. You make it sound so simple,
Janelle. I know. Why can't they do it?
You make it,
No, you're right. There's so many factors in there, and this is such a long day of sailing. I think everyone arrived at 8:30 in the morning. We're approaching 6 p.m. I think we had two longer breaks in the middle of the day. We've been roasting in the sun because everyone wants to get a base tan, but the coach disapproves. You want to hydrate and stay in the shade, wear a hat, put on a long sleeve shirt.
Yeah, it's tough getting a base tan in these uniforms. We've got sailors tan lines.
Yeah, in that wind delay, there was a lot of field games going on. It looked more like a country club than a college national championship.
There were.
But,
I think it was tetherball. I haven't played tetherball in 2 decades.
And then there's a whole bunch of games. Maybe tug of war. Who knows? And then it seemed like there was like a terrible cornhole injury. I think Jack Ryder. Thoughts and prayers to him.
Yeah,
I think it was
a terrible
Jack Ryder
injury.
Dislocated a shoulder, I think, playing spike ball.
Spike ball, that's the one.
We'll be holding a memorial spike ball tournament tomorrow in his honor for anyone who would like to play.
Yeah, thoughts and prayers to him.
Spike ball, guys.
We'll have a brief moment of silence.
It's one of the most dangerous sports in America.
Yeah. Friends don't let friends play spike ball.
Guys, it looks like and a spin from Tufts boat 6. Unfortunately, the 1-2 are still pretty launched here, but looks like somebody made something happen there.
Yeah.
Great view of the of our stadium here. Fans up out of their seats here, just going buck wild.
Yeah,
what
worth noting.
Here.
Yeah, worth noting. No cutoff time today.
No cutoff time.
So, what are we thinking till sunset?
Yeah, probably. I think the Coast Guard would say 30 minutes before sunset, so probably around 8:15.
Okay.
Would be when we should be off the water, but yeah,
nice.
The sun will be pretty low in the sky.
I'll tell you what. I'm not mad at it, just because we want to get. We want to get this round robin off. We don't know what the breeze is going to do all these other days, but I'll tell you what, I'm happy I'm not the one out there.
Going in for that last.
Do you guys
race.
think they'll get the whole round robin in?
I think we got to push to like the mid 90s today. I don't know what race we're on now, but we gotta push pretty far into this format so we can keep this round robin.
Yep.
Hey, I say let's do it. I say let's ride.
Let's ride.
Let's ride.
They're young.
Yeah, they got their
That's
whole...
what they live for.
Yeah, they got their whole lives ahead of them.
Jacks and jibes.
Yeah.
And nationals are so much more of a marathon than a sprint. You play basketball for 60 minutes. You play football for 60 minutes, and that's the game. Here, in sailing, these kids are out here from 8 a.m. and their day starts probably 7:30, and they're going to be out here until 7 p.m. and sunburned, dehydrated, and so yeah, it is a marathon. And some of these sailors, like the Stanford sailors, that women's team is going to probably sail for a week straight, and so yeah, it's not, everyone thinks, oh, glitz and glamour, we're going on a yacht, we're going to drink tea with our Grey Poupon. But, these kids are out here for a long time.
Yeah. Yeah, and so, Janelle, we were so grateful to have you. Seriously, you have made such an impact.
Great.
For women in sailing, for
thanks.
kids in sailing. You are awesome, I almost said.
Thank you.
Awesome. But seriously, thank you so much for joining us, and we'd love to have you on the mic again.
I'll definitely come back.
Oh, I love it. Thank you so much, Janelle. And
thank you, Janelle.
I know your team's racing, so I guess...
yeah, I gotta go watch that.
All right, well...
Only say good things.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Oh, always. Always. Go Hoyas.
All right, I'll see y'all in a little bit.
Thanks, Janelle. Appreciate you.
Looks like upwind we have, I believe this is, I see Brown in Georgetown, I believe. Coming up on the first beat of the course here.
Your umpires are just finishing the next race. We'll get you started as soon as we can.
Folks, let's get to it. Your view here is of Georgetown 1, 2, 3, Brown 16, 17, 18. I just know this is going to be an action-packed fun one. And hey, it's your alumna.
That's right. That's right, Gloria. And the Bears are looking great.
Yeah, so 18 from Brown just got number 3 from Georgetown attack out 2, tacking with them. Oh, stellar roll there from Georgetown. Just absolutely stunning. Wow. Amazing.
And this Brown team is going to be around for a long time. We got 2 freshmen in their quarterback. Connor Nelson is a junior, I believe. And but this team's going to be together at least for the next year. So this team has some legs on it.
All right, here we go.
Yeah, that's for sure. Both 3 and 16 pretty close to one another. I'm excited to see some action happen here. The 16 tacking off.
Brutal there. Tacking right in those waves. Anytime you're in the waves, it's very, less ideal time to tack.
Right, 17 kind of punching it out right. Here, let's see if 16. All right, are they going to duck? See, 3 didn't let them duck.
Yeah.
They didn't let them duck.
So that, that's good defense there by Georgetown. And 16 there for Brown is Guthrie, and he's a larger guy, more of a laser sailor, so he can kind of manhandle that boat as much as he wants.
Oh. And yeah, 2 went for that duck there around the mark. Let's go ahead.
That's our combo there. It looks like a 1-2.
Potentially. Let's see once they get around here.
Yeah, let's take a 1-2 for Brown. That's a 1-2 for the Bears.
1, 2, 3 potentially here. If I'm not. No, I'm sorry. That looks like. No, that's a 2, 3, 4 for Georgetown, if I'm not mistaken here. That's
You're right.
16 and 18, 5, 6 for Brown. Tough rounding here. Let's watch this action. This is definitely a downwind we want to be watching. Boat 1 immediately starting to look back at 18, trying to make something happen, but 18 potentially rolling over the top of 1. Boat 16 from Brown doing the right thing. They're just like, hey, I'm going to go fast. Pedal to the metal.
Yeah, Georgetown biting on that hook a little bit too hard.
Boat 1.
Yeah, but he's actually going to lose both. It looks like Connor Nelson getting to the inside.
Boat 1 breaking overlap there on 18. 18 can no longer head them up. 1's just saying, hey, I'm just going to go fast. But incoming Brown Bears from boat 16 coming to help out 18, punch him forward. Going for the cross. And a cross. And going for that jibe. Oh. We see boat 1 raising their hand. Let's wait for an umpire call here. I can only assume that they're calling for not enough room to avoid or potentially not enough time. Let's wait for that umpire call here. Let's see.
Looks like it was a green, I think, Gloria, so umpire said play on.
That'll do it. Can't count on a protest.
But that's okay. Brown is a good spot here.
Yeah,
Georgetown finally coming back and deciding they don't want to chase the 1. They want to come back and mix it up a little bit.
Yeah, but I'll tell you, 2's kind of getting worked by 17 here. 3 is just kind of punching forward from Georgetown. I kind of want to see them potentially helping out a teammate, but now they just have to defend the 1 with 18 and 17 right on their tail. Boat 1 from Georgetown doing a pretty good job here of just sitting and covering boat 17 and just trying to make gains where they can. Potentially, if they just keep going downwind, wing on wing, boat 1 could hypothetically get room on 17. Let's see what happens here. 3 definitely coming up to, folks, this is Mark 3. This is where the action happens. This is where people make moves. Boat 1 does not have inside room on 17. Potentially they have it on 16. 2 and 3. Money from 2 on Georgetown. 2, Georgetown boat just said, you know what? I'm just going to keep sailing. I'm going to go fast. Let's see if they've got anything on 16 and 18 above them. You want to be looking behind you a little bit. Ooh, lured boat. Yeah, I'm waiting for 17. That seemed like that was a brown bear foul from 17 there, if there was contact. Wow, and see, folks, that's what happens. Sometimes you're just getting covered so hard. 17 has been hard covering 2 Georgetown boat.
Yeah, he's putting in work back there.
Green flag. That'll do it. You can't count on that.
Yeah, you know, Brown doing a nice job of pushing him back, keeping him slow, but not doing too much in fouling.
Yeah, so that was an instant replay here. You can see boat 3 is ahead. 2 right below 17. It looks like there was some contact. And you know what? But it could be argued that there was not enough room to avoid. Not enough room or time to avoid. That was green flagged there.
So it looks like Brown's still in that 156. Georgetown controlling this race.
On deck, we have the Tulane
Yeah,
University
Georgetown.
Greenway versus the University of Pennsylvania.
Boat 17 doing what they can, just kind of trying to stay in it with 2 here. But I'll tell you what, look at 17's point relative to boat 2. Excellent point and excellent speed. And now, if I'm not mistaken, Pearson, this Brown could potentially have a 2-3-4 here. Because it looks like 18's got a pretty strong hold on 2. If they just got down there a little bit more, depending on what's going on out left.
It's going to be close. I think the gray boats have it right now.
Yeah, it looks like the brown bears.
Yeah.
They're taking their speed. And they're working
I have my
for
colors
this.
mixed up. I'm a little colorblind here.
I'm potentially seeing a 2-3-4 situation for the brown bears.
Yeah.
Boat 3, Georgetown, starting to come down on 18. They know it. They know it. Boat 1 tacking over. Okay, I'm looking for that other brown bear boat. Where are they? And how are they doing relative to 2 and 1? Oh.
They finished. So
wow,
Brown,
17
Brown
and a 1.
First. Yeah.
16 and potentially 3-4. So that's a win for the brown bears.
Go Bears.
Pulled
Roll
up
Bears.
out of the cut.
That's right.
Wow. You guys clawed your way back.
It's a good win for the Bears.
We'll take it.
You know, I think you try to win the races that you should win, and you know, hopefully you take a few off the top teams, and then you know when it comes crunch time, you beat them. But you know, you got to beat. Eventually, you got to beat the top guys.
Let's go ahead and take a look at this instant replay. We've got of 18 getting 3 to tack off. Talk about how beautiful that bow handling is. Well done.
Very close race all around here in between marks 1 and 2. A couple fouls here, leaving it up to the umpires. Liam, O'Keefe, and Brown doing a nice job. Not doing too much, but just enough.
And this was the... There we go.
I think we're back down to the start here.
7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. If I'm not mistaken, that is the Navy midshipmen versus U.S. Coast Guard Academy Bears. Nothing like good like academy rivalries.
Yeah, nothing like a little military battle here.
You know, the midshipmen, if I'm not mistaken, they just had their graduation. Big ol' hoot in Annapolis. Let's go ahead and take a look. So we've got Coast Guard in boats 7, 8, 9, Navy in 10, 11, 12. In my eyes, it looks like the midshipmen have potentially one pair here. I take that back. I think that they potentially have 2 pairs. Looks like, because 7 from Coast Guard is quite behind.
Yeah, 12 sound like he's on a destroyer. Doing an excellent job of controlling this race.
Just
firing those 30 millimeters out on everybody.
Saving the country.
Yeah.
Yeah. These teams, they do it for America.
Love it. Good luck here.
10 doing a great job covering 8 here. You can tell they're trimming in their main pretty hard. Just trying to make 8 eat it. There you go. And even going down a little bit harder.
You can see a big difference between, you know, now what you're looking at versus this morning, that everyone's a lot more active, and you got to be a lot more aggressive with the boat, especially in these 420s. You got to really keep the boat flat, and that's really the crew's job, to make sure that the boat is going fast at all times.
Right. Potential foul from one of those Coast Guard boats. Looks like that must have been a green flag. I don't see anybody spinning, but I did see hands up from boat 11. Now, bold take, a boat 11 could have just tacked off there, but they just kind of skirted down and try to just sit in that lane, go fast, bow down.
And so what you're looking at here is a pass back, or trying to make a pass back happen. Coast Guard hanging on by the skin of their teeth. Oh, Navy coming in strong, though.
Wow. But Coast Guard coming in, having inside room here.
Nice job by Coast
on
Guard.
boat 11, 12 potentially doing a spin here.
Oh,
11
wow.
doing a spin. A lot of whistles being blown out there, folks. I'll tell you what.
Wow, great move by Coast Guard there.
Wow.
You know, they were about to round that mark on a losing combination, and now they're in a solid 2-3-4.
Definitely a strong one. But, you know, you can see...
What a turn of events.
Oh, that'll happen. That'll happen.
Yeah.
Boat 12 kind of sitting pretty close to 9, so I don't want Coast Guard to get too comfortable.
What a classic submarine move by the Coasties. Absolutely enforcing. I guess that we're in their domain right now, technically. I mean, we are on the coastline. Not, let's see, the Navy bailing out their boats seem to have that should be part of Navy 101. Keep your boat dry.
Oh, Navy midshipmen have a pretty strong team, though. You know, they're pretty young, minus Gavin McJones, class 23. They do have some super seniors on there. Gavin McJones, they've got Colin McGilvery, fellow Newport local.
Love it.
Let's take a look here, though. Boat 10 a little bit punched. Oh, no, they're staying close. They're good. Boat 12 is making 9 sweat. That's what I'm talking about. When you're in that 5-6, make them bring it back.
Yes.
Make them sweat. Make them do something. There you go. They're like, come on, 9, take me out. I dare you. I dare you. Boat 11, pedal to the metal. 12 is doing an excellent job from the Naval Academy. Just putting the pressure on 9. Making them think. That's the thing. When you're behind, you want to make the other team do something.
Yeah, you gotta make them work for it. You know, if you're losing, you gotta shake it up. Do a bunch of tags, jibes. You gotta get people involved.
Yeah. The more you make them think and have to think about what should I do, the better for you, right? You want to put them in a situation where they have to think and make a decision. That's how you win the races. Make the other team really think about it. Force them to make decisions. There you go. And that's what I'm talking about. Boat 9, hooking into the, they're getting fished. Boat 12. Boat 9. There you go, see? Boat 11 coming across from Naval Academy, crossing boat 9. And once they got across, they're now back, making sure 12 is ahead, right? Giving their teammates, they're bumping. They're bumping. Now, Coast Guard, don't get me wrong.
Coast Guard doing a great job here, trying to wow. And they just got their boat 9 there was in last, and now he's in second. So great, incredible job by the Coasties there.
That was well done by Coast Guard. Very well done by Coast Guard, I'll tell you what.
Yeah, very impressive.
They saw that they were starting to lose that, and they went in 3v2. That's how we like it. That's how we like it.
Pretty soon here at Gloria, too, I think we got a race we want to look out for. It's going to be definitely a battle to the end. I think it's going to be Stanford and Yale. That's going to be a close one. I could see that one. Tension's getting high.
I'm going to be honest. I'm shaking in my boots right now. I'm shaking in my boots.
Yeah, and I just got word that both of those teams are undefeated right now. So we're gonna have that's gonna be a telling one.
I couldn't be more excited for that. I think that's going to be the battle of the day. Battle of the day, no doubt.
Shifting back to this Coast Guard race. Coast Guard's still in a commanding position.
Just well done with Coast Guard. I'll tell you what, there were 2 situations in this race where, they started losing it, and they fought back.
Switching back, now we're at this Stanford-Yale race. Jack Egan behind here, Stanford.
Looks like Michelle Larkamp in 13.
Yep.
14.
It's boys versus girls here.
Listen. I'm just gonna
boys
say it.
rule and girls drool.
Okay, don't make me pull out these quotes. Boys go to Jupiter.
There you go. All right. Closing down to the final seconds here.
All right, let's get it, ladies. Who's gonna win? The Bulldogs? Who's gonna win in a fight? Bulldog or Cardinal?
The tree, you mean? We were asking about that earlier. They're the tree, and he actually made a good point that trees can fall and destroy many things. So he made a good point about how.
Yeah, you're right. A big tree would probably crush a bulldog if it came falling down.
Yeah.
All right, keep an eye on Yale in 4, 5, 6. Stanford 13, 14, 15. Looks like Stanford had a pretty strong start off that pin. Lured most boat, punching out with speed. The craziest part is I'm like, both of these teams have the speed. Like, this is really going to come down to the team race. Like, this is like to the true battle, the grit, all that.
I think both these teams are going to want to focus on their natural tendencies to focus on their speed, and right now it looks like Stanford has the edge on that. Yale trying to climb back into this race, but right now I think Stanford has the edge.
And look at that. Yale taking a duck on their own teammate. Looks like I want to see if does 15 have this cross. That's going to be a no dice on the cross. 6, you know what 6 said? Not going to let him duck me. I'm not going to let him duck me. Wow, 15 looking really nice. Stanford's 15 looking great on 5 and 6. Question is, how's 13 going to look coming over back to the left? 14 looks like they've got a good hold on boat 4, tacking back over to the right side, trying to get on that victory lane. Tacking right with 4.
Good
14
defense there.
14's taking victory lane from Stanford. They're saying, you know what? I'm going to be there for my teammates coming in on starboard just in case they need it.
Right.
But I'll tell you what, 15 and 13 are looking quite spicy. But I'll tell you what, that looks like boat 6. Teddy Nicolosi just trailing behind here. Boat 4, if I'm not mistaken, Jack Egan. They're coming in hot. That's the thing. If Stanford rounds in a 1-2, Yale's got speed. Yale's got speed. It's going to be a tight race all the way through to the finish.
Yeah, Yale needs to think about the long game here. They just need to stay close enough for the down one. 13's got to be careful here. Very nicely done. Oh,
wow.
Jack tried to go for it all there. You're going to see that gap open up. He tried to prevent the tack.
And in the minute, oh my goodness! I couldn't say.
It's okay.
It was like Nemo trying to say anemone. I meant to say in the meantime.
Oh, nice job by Stanford there too. So they have the ace. So right now
wow.
they're in a controlling 1-2-5.
Wow. Now 14, yeah, really trying to slow down that 6th place Yale boat. Let's see what kind of gap. That looks like Michelle Larkamp there in 14. I'll be honest, I would not want to get slowed by her. There you go, and Stanford looks like they have rounded in a 1-2 here. One's got some distance. The 2, pretty close here with boat 4. We're going to see a jibing duel without a doubt. Bold move, just trying to cross there.
Jack Egan doing a nice job. Back to the back of the race here. Trying to just control this. This is just the match race that's going on at the back of the course. 14, all they got to do is just keep him behind them. Nothing fancy. Oh, I don't like what I'm seeing here by 15. 15 needs a, yep.
There we go.
Yep,
oh.
So that's going to be trouble for Stanford.
We want to start seeing 13 coming back. Looks like teammate needs...
Yep,
boy,
so
15 is doing a spin here.
Why did that happen? I think that Stanford didn't do a good job there working to the inside, and whenever things get close, you got to default to the inside position. So
right. So, nonetheless, it's not, Stanford's still in a winning position here.
Yep.
We're talking a play 4. They've got 1-4-5. Now, what you're going to see is the 4 and 6 from Yale making 15's life hell.
yeah, it's not going to be a good day for 15.
No. Not when you have Teddy Nicolosi and Jack Egan just absolutely going on you.
Yeah, you said it. I didn't. And they're putting in work here. They're trying to get their teammate out of last.
But I'll tell you what, Stanford ain't dumb. 14's gonna make Yale's life hell.
Yeah, it looks
She's gonna put it on him.
Yeah, it looks like 14 in the back there, still in a controlling position.
Boat 6 really kind of pushing 15 away from the mark. Yeah, let's bring it back. Let's bring it back. 15.
The 6 is just pushing,
hard.
Just trying to. They're driving so much, basically.
But I'll tell you what a beautiful jibe from 15.
Yeah.
Stunning boat handling. So difficult in a high stakes moment like this to really keep that boat handling. Come on.
Yeah.
Bold move. Why?
Wow.
That's tough. I mean, to try and duck there. That was tough. That was tough to watch. 13. All right.
We're here at Mark 3.
All right. 15 still rounding. 14 putting in that gap. 14's not going to make 5's life easy. 14 knows what she has to do.
Great work by 14.
Look at that, just taking 5 out of the race. I want to see 5 tacking to get out of there. Come on, you know.
This is the race here. Basically, Yale's going to do a double team.
Right. 13 just needs to hold the 1 here. If anything's for certain, it's that. 14 really putting in the dent here.
And again, folks, these are the undefeated teams, so neither team here is lost.
Right.
And these are your front runners here.
That's
boy.
I'll tell you what, I've umpired a few times, that's a arguable jibe, right? Sail was like very partially filled. So you got to be real careful in moments like that for sure.
Wow. Nice job by Yale there. We call that a meatball. Where they got kind of on either side of Stanford.
I know what's coming here. I know what's coming. Potential. Oh. Thought they were just going to go for a jibe there. Wow, 4 may have something on 13. 13's just going to want to real just put it on 6. Do it to them. Here you see jibs are luffing, folks. That's a telltale sign that people are aggressively slowing boats.
It looks like, I think the other story here is I think that Stanford lost the ace. So now they're working with a
potential 1-3.
6.
All right, Pearson, what you doing in this situation?
I think right now you just gotta, if you're Stanford, you gotta get your 1 and your 3 involved, and you're trying to get. I think you're looking at a 2-3-4 most likely.
Yeah, let's take a look how. I'll tell you what though. 15 may have a piece there on 4. Let's see who's gonna go with 15. Is anybody? 5 goes with them. 13 may potentially still have. I mean, it looks like 14 is coming out advantaged on 4, if I'm not mistaken. And it looks like 13 may still have a 1. Stanford may still have a play 1 out of this. Look at these top level undefeated teams. Stellar tacks. I mean, you watch them in these boats, and it is beautiful.
Yeah, the best teams are, they're not worried about. They've already perfected their boat handling.
Tell me if I'm wrong, but Stanford coming in with crosses on Yale Bulldogs here.
Wow.
We're talking a 1-2 Stanford going undefeated.
Wow. And
giving the Yale Bulldogs their first loss of the day.
The pivotal moment there was that cross right at the end. And that was a game of inches if I've ever seen it. 14 crossing. You couldn't put a sheet of paper between the boats, I think.
I'll tell you.
Great win by the ladies.
Yeah, I'll tell you what. All 6 of those drivers, all 6 of those crews, even opposing teams.
What a race. What a race. Jack Eating there, a little mess up there. Just went for it all a little bit, a little fall behind, but no problem. Then they get back. Yale claws it back. They establish themselves in a 2-3-6. They call it back. At this point, by the end, around Mark 3, Yale's in a winning. Around Mark 3 and 4, Yale's in a winning position. Great job there by Yale, almost drawing the foul, pushing boat 15 out. Then we get around Mark 4. Things are compact. It's tough to tell who's winning, what pairs. Tough to tell anything. Stanford says, I don't care. I'm going to put the pedal down. I ain't going to team race. I'm just going to go fast. And they did it. Cross right there at the end. Win goes to Stanford.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, all 12 of those sailors in that race, we're talking like these are all Americans. All 12 of them.
Yeah.
Right? That race, that's the pivotal, those are the pivotal races. And you know what? I'll tell you what, these teams both undefeated, I believe that we'll be seeing them throughout the rest of this event. And I think that we're going to see the two. Correct me if I'm wrong, I'm going to knock on this wood right now. But I think both of those teams are going to be in the Final Four, and I think that they're going to be duking it out in the very end.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think this is a medal booth, but we can knock it on our heads. But, yeah, what a race, Gloria.
That was
incredible.
beautiful to watch.
Yeah.
picturesque.
And, champagne conditions.
And let's talk about the fact that Stanford had that all-woman team. All-woman team.
Yeah.
I got to say it, as a female sailor myself, I loved watching that.
Yep. All right, race fans, we're going to take a break here. Just a quick break before the post-game show. And we're starting to wrap it up here, but thank you so much for joining us, and we'll take a short break, and we'll be back.
Thank you.
With Zim and West Coast Sailing, we have the gear you need at a great price, backed by fast shipping and outstanding service. As proud partners of college sailing, Zim and West Coast Sailing offer 15% discounts to student athletes on all apparel and soft goods. Get all the top brands including Gill, Rooster, Zyke, Ronstadt, and more. Go to zimsailing.com/college sailing or westcoastsailing.net/scholastic-sailing for details and to apply for your student athlete discount code today.
Welcome back, folks. Welcome to the post-game show where we'll essentially debrief you on what's been going on all day.
I mean, we had a lot happening. First up.
And here we are. So, Pearson, let's just start off the day. What was your most exciting race?
I think my most exciting race is that last one. I mean, they saved the best for last year. I mean, we're not done yet, but that Stanford-Yale race was tight, and we didn't know who was going to win that one till the very end.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, that was quite spicy, and something that's so worth talking about is the Stanford Cardinal team. All day long, they have now gone undefeated throughout the entire day, 6-0, all-woman team. I'm not going to shut up about this, I'm going to be honest, because let's talk about it. They're making history, coming to the Open Team Race National Championship, just taking a win at the Women's Fleet Race National Championship, and now they're looking pretty good.
Yeah.
And the first ever all-woman team, we're talking female skippers, female crews, just dominating.
Pretty cool. Very, very cool.
I can talk about women in sailing all day.
I know.
Big fan.
I love it. Absolutely.
Awesome. We're going to go. Yeah, so here's a great race. Stanford today. Stanford, Yale. You guys saw it here first. Stanford finished the race in a 1-2 with a dicey race the entire time, but they held their lead, and in the very end, they had lost the 2, but they climbed their way back, and with an incredible cross at the very end.
Oh. Stanford did such a nice job of holding that ace all the way to the very end. And then, I mean, this was incredible work and such confidence to just hold that boat and last and just absolutely own them all around the entire course and just make them eat their dust.
Pardon me, folks. Pearson clearly has the best one-liners. So, but yeah, I couldn't agree more. Listen, that being said, Yale is trying to defend their title of last year. Yep. So,
quick look at the scores here over the whole day here. A lot of ups and downs. It's not anyone's, nobody's won the regatta outright yet. I think there's still a lot of racing to be done, one step at a time. And, there's many teams out there that can still get it. I don't think anyone out here is going to go undefeated. I think there will be losses, absolutely, and you got to keep a simple mentality: win race good, lose race bad.
Right, and worth noting, you can take a look. There's definitely the powerhouse teams that have had lots of wins today, right? It's really so long. Everybody's going to get a loss, maybe unless you're undefeated. But the difference between the best teams and the winning teams is who can take a loss and brush it off the best.
Yep. Absolutely. Couldn't say it better myself, Gloria.
I mean, team racing, you look at this, you look at how many races there are just in the first round robin, right? I mean, we're talking 76 races. That's a lot.
Yeah.
You just got to be able to bounce back. You're going to have a bad race. Something's going to happen, right? Nothing is consistent, right? I mean, consistency, of course, is key, but, stuff happens.
Absolutely. And you see a lot of, just looking at the board here, just notice that the combinations that are winning races, you see a lot of 1-2s, 1-3s, but that most stable combination is what you're looking at is that 1-2. And a lot of, some of those races are just about getting off the line and just stay on fast already there on the course. They're not sort of doing a whole lot of team racing to get down there a lot of times. A lot of these races are rounding the first mark and then just being conservative and sound fast and, finishing in that stable 1-2.
Yeah, so worth noting that 1-2 doesn't really ever come till the end. You'll watch so many races and it doesn't often start out with a 1-2. It's usually just something pretty drastic that happens and you end up in the 1-2. But you're watching these races and it's not like consistently 1-2. It'll be 1-2 and then it'll be 2-3-4, right? And it'll progressively move throughout.
Yeah, and Janelle said it really well. It's just the progression of combinations of going from like an unstable combination into something more stable like a 1-2. So I think Janelle put it great.
Yeah. Yeah, and folks, it's the sun is just slowly setting. It's a beautiful day. Races are still going on, and worth noting. I think we got to talk about the brown bears. I want to talk about them. How do you think their day looked like today, Pearson?
I didn't see a ton of the races, but I do think that they're one of the stronger teams in this field. Looking at the scores here, a lot of good wins there, and I think that the Bears they're well coached. They've had a lot of time together, and I think that tomorrow is when that's when we see the scores shake out, and I think tomorrow is what we call moving day, and that's when we sort of see the cream really rise to the top.
Yeah, I mean, it's worth noting as well that some of those races, it's really difficult. It's quite tough, but a lot of the teams we were initially talking about, even taking a look at compared to last year's winners, right? Last year we had Yale in first. We had the Hoyas in second, if I'm not mistaken. The Georgetown Hoyas. Stanford was in fourth. And now who was in third? Thank you. Roger Williams was in second. Georgetown was in third. One team that, based off of last year, I'm just not seeing up at the top is Georgetown this year.
Well, they'll cut them out yet. They'll come back, and I think there's a lot of racing to be done, and can't get too low or too high.
Yeah, and you can see in your view, sitting in first right now as of current standings is Stanford University Cardinal. In second, the Yale Bulldogs after that loss against Stanford. In third, we have Dartmouth College, who we saw today put up some really, really strong races. Fourth is Harvard University Crimson. Same thing. You've got Roger Williams University Hawks, who I think, I can't imagine they're very happy about the two races. But as we know, Raj, they're a very strong team racing team. I don't doubt that they're going to be coming back from this at all. Brown University Bears sitting in sixth with a tie against U.S. Coast Guard. UPenn in eighth for the day. St. Mary's College of Maryland in ninth, and Tulane sitting in 10th. So, these teams, the records, right? Some of them may seem bad, right? But at the end of the day, some of these guys haven't even raced one another yet. So they've still got a lot of opportunity to climb their ways back up, and I'm sure that we'll see the standings switching around a significant amount.
Yeah, I see our early front runners as Yale and Stanford, but that group about 3 to 7, 3 to 8 is really that's where it's gonna get heated, and I think that it's anybody's game for who's in who's in that third and fourth spot. So a lot of racing to be done, and a lot of cool, some surprising names in there, which I think, kudos to them. They're well coached, and the Coast Guard, that's awesome. Good to see them up there. So I think we'll see more out there, and thank you to our viewers. And that was day one. We have a lot of racing to go.
Right. Thank you so much once again for tuning in today. Tomorrow we'll have even more special guests. We'll provide all the live coverage for you guys, and just please stay please stay tuned. Thank you so much. It's been obviously a very long day of racing, a lot of talking. The racing is still going on, of course, while this breeze is here, but once again, these sailors are going to have a very long day today. We'll see what their day looks like tomorrow. I'm sure exhaustion is going to change how people are going into the day tomorrow. We'll see how some people do with that. So thank you so much for joining us. This is Pearson Potts. I'm Gloria Kevlicute. Have a lovely evening, and we'll see you tomorrow.